Dark, thank you so much, Dark. Guys, Dark is paying for the music. Because YouTube, you know, I can't monetize the ad revenue when I play music, but I play it anyway just because it's worth it. And Dark just paid for that ad revenue right now. Thank Dark right now for music.
should try to focus on my breathing, keep me in line. Heaven knows I've seen the signs, I know I should be leaving. I stay the night because one look at those eyes, I'm taken by you. One drink on ice and I got nothing on you.
Love is a burning fire, stay, 'cause then the flames grow higher, babe. Don't let him steal your heart, it's easy, easy. Girl, this game can't last forever, why? We cannot live together, try. Don't let him take your love from me. You're no good, can't you see, brother Louie, Louie, Louie? I'm in love, set to free. Oh, she's only looking to me. Only love breaks a heart, brother Louie, Louie, Louie. Only love's paradise. Oh, she's only looking to me. Louie, Louie, Louie. Oh, she. You're my heart. You're my heart.
Is everyone having a good time? Is everyone having a good time? You guys just sitting there chilling? Just watching? Did you forget to do something? Did you forget to do something? Oh, is there an audio problem? Is there an audio problem? Is there an audio problem? Let me turn the gain up. Should I turn the gain up? Is there an audio problem?
Like the fucking stream, you lazy fucking bums!
That's better, right? You can hear me now. Haha. I just fucking realized that they changed the ingredients of my fucking favorite protein drink. They changed the ingredients, and now they're putting milk, protein, concentrate in this fucking shit. And this is, I'm gonna sue GNC, because I didn't sign up for that. I thought I was drinking whey and whey alone. But apparently they're mixing in some milk in there. Think I'm drinking milk with all those hormones? Notice, big surprise. I'm switching to powder anyway. But guys, notice how big these glasses are on me. I gotta get new sunglasses because these are not the move. These are too big. And look how beautiful I look without them, right? These are here to protect my eyes first and foremost. First and foremost. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Infrared Show. We are going to be doing a Twitter space today. Today's going to be one of those days where we do Twitter spaces, and I kind of felt like I want to ease the streams to be like 1 hour shorter every day, 1 or 2 hours, because I felt like if I start streaming at 6, I feel like it's not, you know what I mean? I should do this gradually, right? So, you know, we're going to gradually start streaming earlier and earlier and earlier until I feel there's an appropriate time at which I actually do want to indeed stream. Okay? So ladies and gentlemen, all right? And theys and thems and zways and zwees and fey and fwows. Wheeze and fwows and fwees. Everybody's got to come to a consensus and understand one thing. When I got banned from Twitch, it was the single biggest L that website has ever taken. And that is an objective fact. And that's okay. That's okay, because we are on YouTube now. And YouTube has its strengths, certainly. Certainly YouTube has its strengths. But the problem with YouTube, of course, is that there is none. No, the problem with YouTube, in all seriousness, is there's not a lot of ways to tap into other communities. That's the truth, right? YouTube is very tough for me to tap into it. Forget it, right? But the fact they banned me on Twitch is just such a sadness for them, right? Indeed. But I really think they should free me. I think they should free Haas. And because when you think about it, what fucking crime did I commit again? I'm still sitting here waiting to just what did I do? What was the fucking crime I committed? What did I do? What did I do? What did I do again? Come again? You're a bad misinformation actor. You're a misinformation actor. What? That's just like your opinion. That's why we have debates about this. Isn't it? Isn't that why we have debates? It's, you know what? It's cold. I'm cold. It's very cold right now. It's very cold. I'm gonna see what the problem is. Oh my God, it's raining. Oh my God, it's raining. It is actually raining quite severely. Quite severely. Quite severely. Look, we're going to make it, and it's going to be okay, and everything's going to be fine. Everything is going to go well, and everything is going to turn out in our favor. eventually, right? And I want to talk about this because there's been some breaking news. I don't know if you guys have heard the news. Something's going on with those people, Black Hammer, right? I don't know anything about Black Hammer. I didn't study it. I don't know anything about them. But my question is this. Why are they not embraced by the left again? Aren't those guys that go, "Land back"? Those are the actual people who say that? Why aren't they embraced by the left? So I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. I don't know what's going on with that. Makes me suspicious. Like, why are they being excommunicated? I don't know what happened. If someone wants to give me the beans or spill the tea on what happened with Black Hammer, I heard that he got arrested and someone died and there was a hostage situation. I don't believe anything I see on the news. So I don't know what the fuck happened with that. But it has gotten me thinking. It has gotten me thinking. And I want to know what you guys think, right? Because
Based.
Omar, thank you so much. It's gotten me thinking, right? By the way, ones if you live in LA. Ones if you guys live in LA. Does anyone live in LA? Anyone in the chat live in LA? Ones if you live in LA, okay? Just hold that thought, right? But anyway, what I was trying to say is that don't give me twos, just only once. Only the once, okay? I don't fucking want your twos, okay? I don't want your twos. Just your ones if you have any. If you don't have ones, don't give me. They're anti-Semitic YouTube videos. I see. I don't know anything, right? Okay. Anyway, but it did get me thinking, right? And it's not so much that I want to comment on the Black Hammer people, as much as I want to comment on this thing about praxis, because we are routinely accused that you're not going outside and doing anything. Well, they are. They're building Hammer City. I remember Hammer City. They're probably still doing that shit, right? They're building a whole damn motherfucking alternative society. All right? And they're roaming the streets and doing shit. So, but they're getting called a cult because of that, right? So it's like, imagine if Infrared took the advice of these leftists and we went out and organized, like they're saying, right? The same shit would happen. We would be accused of being a cult. We would be accused of being a cult. And they would, you know, I feel like, then it got me realized, it got me thinking, I feel like this rhetoric of go out and organize, you're only online. I feel like this is coming from the feds. I feel like that's what the feds want. The feds don't want us to be info warriors in astral space because we're not committing any crimes. We're not concentrated in a way that could make us be depicted as a threat in any kind of way. We just represent oscillations in the information warfare sphere, which is the biggest threat to these motherfucking feds, right? But I feel like they want us to congregate and they want us to like do what Black Hammer does and like we're gonna like form an in real life organization and you know we're gonna have all these plans and shit because that's how they get you. That's how they get you. And something is telling me that's how that guy ended up in jail, right? Because he's in prison right now. They imprisoned that guy, right? So something tells me that's what they want to do. The Infrared. They want us to start going offline and making these groups. And then that way they can just fucking put us in jail for some fucking whatever reason they want. Because there's going to be someone who infiltrates. Look, the worst that happens when it comes to infiltration, when it comes to Infrared, is that we ban someone in the Discord for fucking saying the N-word or fucking, you know, spamming a swastika or something. We just ban them. That's the most the feds can do in terms of getting us in trouble, right? But they can't get us in trouble in any other kind of fucking way. Everyone is their own man. The feds can come in our Discord all they want, but they're not allowed to advocate for illegal things. They'll get banned from our Discord, right? So if we were a group, they could do all sorts of sting operations. I mean, they could literally put us in jail just by like all it would take is one person to be careless and one Fed to be extra. You know what I mean? I mean, that's how they do it. That's how they fucking do it. They get you all to congregate in one space to have a group, and they infiltrate you. Because look, these Feds are bored. They're bored. They have nothing better to fucking do. So they're just sitting around looking for shit to do. And this is what they do. They fucking target extremist groups and they join you. And then from the top down and the inside out, they just fucking put you in jail. That's how it fucking works. You know what I think? We're staying on the internet, bitch. We're not doing that bullshit. We're staying on the internet. And if you start curtailing our First Amendment and you say, oh, you're going to jail for free speech, then we're going to zip our lips and we're going to still follow the law. Hee hee. We are law-abiding people. Ladies and gentlemen, we have no intentions of being trapped by these fucking tactics whatsoever. We have no intention of that whatsoever. And I really feel like when I read the news and I read all this stuff about Ghazi going to jail and this crazy shit going on where there's shootings and there's hostages, I'm just like, imagine if I listen to leftists. That could be us. Think about how much look, imagine if we formed an in real life organization. Oh my God, there would be so much drama. There'd be so much paranoia, and rightfully so. And it probably would turn into like a cult, right? They have to. If you're like an independent ideological group, you have to be a cult in some capacity just because of the atmosphere of paranoia, mistrust, and the inability to tell friend from enemy. And in real life, that shit gets serious, right? Isn't it way smarter that we just stay online and then we discuss and compile our experiences and we just like say shit like, oh yeah, this works better. We should join CPUSA or help Geoff Young on his campaign or do this or do that. And then all the IRL shit, don't do that as an infrared thing. Do that as like a in real life thing. Does that make sense? That way it doesn't get turned into a cult and we don't have that problem. Infrared should stay online. Infrared should stay online. And then all of the offline shit that we do will not be infrared branded, right? I think that's the smart way to go. I think I'm not telling people, oh, never do anything in real life. No, join CPUSA. Join CPUSA and get smart and, help people like Steve Estrada when you see those kinds of campaigns. Yeah, volunteer, canvas, do all that shit. And then bring your experience to our Discord or bring it to our online community. We're going to share and discuss our experiences and we get better, right? But infrared itself should not be going offline. That's stupid. There's no fucking reason for that, right? Infrared itself should not be going offline. It's just, why should it, right? I feel like this is what makes us the biggest threat to the feds, right? If we go offline and we become like a fucking group, everything gets fucked up, right? Everything gets fucked up. And shit just turns, not only does it turn bad and people go to jail, it also turns cringe. We start having personal drama. Hey, you fucked my girlfriend. Oh, you fucked my girlfriend. Hey, you fucked my wife. Oh, your wife fucked him and they fucked them and everybody fucked everybody. And y'all, just don't be fucking up in here. Do you understand? Go fuck in your own time, in your own lives, okay? Have your own drama in your personal lives. Have your own personal drama. And there's a time and place for infrared. The time and place for infrared is when it's late at night or you're on your spare time browsing your little computer, right? You're plugging in, you're putting those infrared goggles on, you're plugging into the infrared matrix, and we're in this bitch. And that's how you do infrared. That's how you participate in infrared. Look, you got to take those glasses off in real life and you got to be a responsible, exemplary individual leader of your community. But then you go on the internet, you put those goggles on, and we're gorillas and sons in this bitch. What do y'all think of that? Because that was what this was meant to be. This was meant to be an online thing, right? That's what it was meant to be. Not gonna form my own fucking organization. I don't want to form my own fucking organization because this ain't enough to form an organization. It's just not. Just because I'm on the fucking internet sharing my opinions and we're having a community of gorillas and sons and I'm debating people, that's not enough to start an organization. It's just not. It's just not. It's just not. And, you know, all the people who say, oh, hi, those people want me to be like Ghazi and they want me to be in fucking prison, right? They want me in prison. They want me in prison. And I'm going to be brutal with y'all. I don't know if I can chill with y'all. That's the brutal truth. I don't know who you are. You don't know me either. I can chill with Jackson. I know Jackson. I like Jackson. But I don't know all of y'all. I don't know if I could chill with you in real life. I might find you cringe. I might find you weird. I might find you people I don't vibe with and I don't want to be around. That's the truth. I don't know who you are. We're together online on the internet. We are cyber. This is a cyber community, right? In real life, I mean, you may not like me either. You may not. I'm loud as hell. I'm very loud. I thought this stream was about Chomsky. I'm going to show you like a 2-minute clip of Chomsky, and the rest of the stream is going to have nothing to do with that. And that's how this works. There's a theme. Okay, the theme is the they, them is watching you is the theme. That's the theme. Okay? And you will not expect what do you think that if this was just gonna be about Chomsky's fucking 1-minute Twitter clip, this video would literally be a 3-minute video. Is that what you want? No, it's gonna be an hours long stream. So you better buckle in and realize what's going on. Paper win.
If I ever meet anyone going gorillas and sons IRL, I'ma run the hell away.
That's smart. The best thing gorillas can do for each other, be low-key in real life. Be low-key. Y'all see each other at the club. This is how I want you to interact. The guy across the room. Y'all meet up, secret handshake while you walk by. You don't even talk to each other. Don't speak to each other in public. You walk by each other, secret handshake while you walk by. You grab the drink. Y'all wingman each other. Go up to those two blondes. You look at the gorilla from the other side of the room. He looks at you back. Y'all in that bitch, you understand? We don't do that shit where we go in real life being cringe and shit, right? This is for the internet. In real life, you gotta keep it low key. You gotta be smooth. You gotta be smooth. I want you guys to be at the fanciest restaurant. The fanciest restaurant in the entire state, where all the philanthropists and the artistes and the billionaires and all these elite people, and y'all are dining on the table. Y'all got your glasses of wine, and you're dining with, you know, your acquaintance, whoever you're bringing. You know, she's got these diamonds and pearls all over her and shit, and you infiltrated that place, and then you're blending in with these ruling elites, and you're living lavishly. And then you see a gorilla walk by and they see you. So this is you. Okay, this is you sitting down, you know, eating your steak or whatever. And then you see a gorilla walk by. This is how you should interact. The gorilla walks by you. Very, very briefly, head nod, okay? Gorilla sits from the other side of the restaurant, dimly lit, with piano music playing on and shit. And then the gorilla's on the other side of the room. Basically what's going on is that you guys are whatever, and then you briefly look at each other. Remember, you got to have sunglasses on. You briefly look at each other. You got your fine glass of wine, and you do that kind of like toast, just very subtly. Y'all are acknowledging you're in the game. You are acknowledging you're in the heist, in the game, but you're being low-key about it. Why? Because your eye is on the prize. Because y'all are about to walk out of that building, that art building, because it's a modern art museum. Y'all are about to walk out of there with $15 million in cash out of a helicopter. And that's what y'all are there to pull off. You got to be low-key. You can't just be, yeah, you blew your cover, the security comes and escorts you out. Everything I'm giving you is a parable of the CPUSA and what you got to be doing inside the CPUSA. This is a parable of what you're doing in the CPUSA, okay? We're not here to be in real life gorillas and sons. We're here to be gorillas and sons subtly. Subtly. All right? The only time you can bring that gorillas and son energy is when you're with your wife or your girlfriend in bed. You go, oh, gorillas and sons! You could just start screaming that shit and go crazy. You go, oh! You can go full fucking retard, right? You can do that fully. And your girl can experience that cringe, that is deep inside of you. All right? The real you. That no one knows about. That's what you can do. Because that's the real you. Class is in session. See, oh, my vision. All right. So all these people, just 30 people left. Just because of that, 30 people left. For all those 30 people who left, you're never welcome back. Those are all the 30 people who didn't like hearing that. Because they want to be doing cringe in real life, okay? Now, here's where we're at, okay? Here's where we're at. Jackson is still banned. Jackson is still banned, okay? Jackson is still banned. And check this out. You will not believe it. You will not believe this shit. This is coming from none other. All right. So Jackson's banned. Just going to give you a recap. Jackson's banned. Now, what is he banned for, right? He's banned for no fucking reason. He's banned because the State Department said so, just because he's giving expression to the Russian POV slightly. He was being so careful too, by the way. And that was enough cause to do a full fucking hatchet job and hit job on fucking Jackson's account to try and get him permanently deplatformed. Permanently deplatformed and taken off the internet. That was their goal, okay? So, with that being said, that was their intention, right? You know, now he's banned, serving his second strike, and you know they're clearly he had to delete all of his videos on his fucking channel, right? So check this out. This is the part, okay? This is the part. Check this out. Even Noam Chomsky is now chiming. You know Noam Chomsky, the same guy that has always been a shill of the State Department. And get this is the best part. The fucking forefather of BreadTube, the ideological and theoretical founder of BreadTube, and Vosh, Ian Kaczynski, Vosh, the founder of Voshism, Noam Chomsky, the patriarch of Voshism, and all of Vosh's ideas about socialism and anarchism or whatever, right? You know that Chomsky? Even he is now saying that the culture within the United States is more totalitarian than the Soviet Union. Because we are literally not permitted to hear the other perspective. This is not even World War II level censorship. Even in World War II, it wasn't this fucking bad. Because we now have this thing. We have such a fucking extreme level of control over the ability for individuals not only to access other just to think. Even our fucking faculties of thought are so severely curtailed. And people don't notice it because there hasn't been any laws that have been passed banning Russian perspectives, but the whole means by which we consume information is completely being censored. Now, I want to ask you a question. If you believe we still have a First Amendment, I want to ask you this question. So this is about adults. This is coming from adults.
Based.
We must spread the word like butter crack.
Thank you, Azazel. Appreciate you so much.
Based.
Thank you so much, Captain
The founder
Waffles.
of the BreadTube subreddit is r/Chomsky mod. Literally,
Yeah.
BreadTube is the modern incarnation
Literally,
of the Chomsky
right?
State Department
So
left.
check this out, guys. So this here, right here, this is cable news, or it's the newspaper. It's cable news, though, right? The newspaper is negligible in terms of what people read. So this is cable news. Now, technically, here's what they've always said about cable news. Cable news is not censored. It's just that because of the free market, there's like 5 companies that own everything on cable news. But if you were to hypothetically get that big, you could have your own spot on cable news and say whatever you want, right? In terms of your perspectives. Okay, fine. So then the internet came about as a way to access information outside of this monopoly, right? So 26% of US adults now get their news from YouTube. And in terms of people who think that it's an important way to get news, for most who get news there, you know, they say it's the most important way. Or these ones say it's an important way, but not the most. But 72% overall think it's an important way to keep up with news, okay? So they can't use the excuse of the free market because of the, on the free market, a bunch of creators have emerged with perspectives that have proven to be popular with people, right? Well, there was the problem of hate speech. And as we know, hate speech is heavily correlated with violence. You know, like the mass shootings that have happened and the tragedy at Charlottesville, things like that, right? So, I mean, I think it's reasonable we should ban neo-Nazis. I think it's reasonable we should ban hate speech and we should ban things like that, right? And then, as Trump got elected and time moved on, and well, you know, neo-Nazis should be banned, but I mean, also, you know, these other far-right people, all these other people, I mean, we need to ban them too, because it all goes back to that violence. Okay. Then what happened? Well, there's a lot of discrimination against LGBT people. We really need to ban hateful people against who are opposed to LGBT people. Okay. Then Black Lives Matter happened. And they decided that the cause they need to take up is, well, we need to even ban more people, right? So they just, you know, started banning people because of this real world stuff, and it's mostly cultural stuff, and it's mostly about not being a big meanie, right? So that's the excuse they're having to ban. It's just like public etiquette, right? That's they're banning people. Then something interesting happened. It was the pandemic. Oh my god! Monkeypox! Oh my god! Right? Because there's a new one now. It's called monkeypox. But before, there was actually a real pandemic, right? And it didn't take long for big tech to decide that, look, this is a health crisis, and we need to clamp down on misinformation when it comes to the public's health. Because, I mean, if people are misinformed, that could lead to a lot of death, and that could lead to a lot of, you know, harmful outcomes in terms of public health. So, okay, well, now we're starting to censor people who are exposing, you know, Pfizer corporate stuff, and okay, I guess that's sounds legitimate. That sounds like a legitimate reason. Joe Biden gets elected. And now, you know, things just can't help but keep getting more and more interesting, right? Because now, you know, it's January 6th, 2021, and there's an insurrection at the Capitol. This is the worst thing that's happened since the Civil War. This was worse than 9/11. Now YouTube says, you know, anyone who questions the integrity of the process is, you know, culpable and is guilty of, you know, misinformation, right? Sorry, is guilty of you know, putting our democracy in danger. I mean, oh my God, this could lead to political violence. This could lead to civil unrest and social unrest. So you can't talk about that anymore. And this is a huge crisis. So then there's another wave of censorship, right? Okay, so far, they've given us a reason where there's an input and there's an output. They say if you spread this type of information, it's going to lead to this type of material harm, specifically on our own country, right? And the left ate all of this up. They didn't say anything. They didn't object to it in any capacity. Now, the special military operation in Ukraine comes to pass. Oh boy. Oh boy. For the first few months, they could not find an excuse to censor people like me, Jackson, and others who were trying to tell the truth about what was going on. They could not find any excuse, either on Twitch, nor on YouTube, nor even on Twitter. They couldn't find any excuse at all. And then they realized that they don't need to find an excuse and that they're just going to censor people anyway. They have no legitimate reason, even according to their own standards of precedent and logic, to be doing this, because even if it's all wrong information, the net material harm that it'll lead to is just people who are not going to get on board with a war agenda. So they had no excuse. They didn't even have a reason to censor anymore. Other than, and this is almost explicit now, you know, you cannot oppose the latest political agenda of the people in power, or you're gonna fucking get censored. I mean, when has this ever fucking happened in this country to this extent? They don't even have an excuse. Nobody gives a fuck because nothing's going on in terms of the law, so people think it's all okay. The precedent isn't based on that. It's the rationality used to justify it. That we have adopted this culture now where it's somehow considered acceptable to just censor people who oppose the latest agenda being promoted by the institutions and by the status quo. I mean, it's pretty fucking, way worse than 2001 to 2003. I mean, this is worse than the Patriot Act. I mean, nobody seems to fucking notice just how bad and unprecedented this is. I am saying this without being hyperbolic. This culture is setting a precedent that makes it inevitable that we are sliding into fascism. If not, that we're already fucking there. We are in fascism. This is actual fascism, guys. They don't have a justification. They don't even have a fucking rationale. They are literally starting to censor people almost entirely on an arbitrary basis that they're spreading ideas and harmful thoughts that are harmful not because they lead to any material harm that anyone can fucking point out, but because they harm consensus for war. Oh, they do damage, all right. They do damage as far as consensus for war is concerned. You know, the misinformation that Jackson is allegedly guilty of is not going to lead to any material harm. It's not going to have any outcome on the course of the war in Ukraine. The only effect it's going to have is to give the public a perspective on the war that they previously had no access to. Meanwhile, you have these cock-sucking fucking Redditors. Fuck every Redditor, by the way. Fuck you, Reddit. Bunch of fucking cocksucker cowards. They're fucking on the front page of Reddit. Oh, Slava Ukraini! We need to save the free world and democracy. But you're not even able to be exposed to dissenting perspectives. You don't even know what the other side is. You don't even know if the fucking thing you're peddling is true or not, because these big tech companies whose cock you're taking for granted, which is firmly stuck up your fucking ass, have not even permitted you the fucking ability to know or even test whether you are wrong about this or not. And you're sitting there acting like you're a fucking freedom fighter, or you're promoting you're not promoting a cause, you're a cuckold. You're a fucking bitch. You're a cuckold and a bitch. You're just doing something that doesn't even matter if you do it or you just do it. You're just cucking yourself for free. You're not even allowed to have the opposite perspective. So why would you cheer on and jeer on like this as if you're like making a difference individually? Oh, I'm expressing my free will to say Slava Ukraini. Except you don't have a fucking free will because you literally have to say Slava Ukraini, or eventually, one way or another, you're going to get fucking censored. And you have the audacity to sit there and act like this is a movement of people on the internet coming together. I mean, this is the truth of all these fucking hashtag revolutions and the Arab Spring and the Maidan, all these fucking color revolutions where everyone was like, fellow Redditors, we are anonymous, we are legion, we are making social change based on our hashtags. but we're going to take for granted the social media big tech corporations that are actually controlling this whole fucking thing. And we're going to, no, this is us. We're the ones making the difference. Hashtag revolutions, Slava Ukraini, BLM, trans lives matter, like all this shit, right? These people literally believe they're part of a movement. You're not part of a movement. You're being cajoled into voluntarily cucking yourself, even though you're not even allowed to have an opposite perspective. You can say free Taiwan all you fucking want, or free Hong Kong or whatever, but no one would ever be allowed to voice an opinion contrary to that. To convince, like, let's say I was a China streamer, right? And I got as successful as Jackson. Well, that actually might turn the tide as far as people's opinions on that is concerned. They might say, I used to only be exposed to the anti-China perspective, but now that I've been exposed to everything, my opinion's a little more balanced, and I'm not saying free Hong Kong anymore. I'm saying hands off China, right? I wouldn't be allowed to rise to that level. They would censor me before I would even be able to rise to that level, despite the fact that, audiences find it informative and useful, as they did with Jackson's stream when he was reporting on Ukraine. There would be no fucking way for anyone to just know the other perspective. You're just going to be the front page of Reddit. That doesn't reflect the truth. That just reflects what you're allowed to see. You're not allowed to see the opposite. You're plainly just not. And the opposite perspective has to be confined to these marginalized websites. So apparently a normal, average, and neutral person can't know what the truth is. And that's also why, look, it's actually fucking so sad. It's actually so sad because you have a situation, I kid you not, I'm shitting you not, right? You have a situation where now you have a new generation of these dream, like Minecraft stands, right? You know those people? Those are like people who are like 8 years old to 11 years old, or some shit, right? 8 to 12 years old. I mean, those are the most liberal, like brainwashed NPC people in the world, dream stands, right? Because they see the front surface web, which rightfully they're not allowed to see anything else, and also rightfully because the dark web is a fucked up place, right? But like they're so fanatically committed to that they're gonna grow up associating alternative media outlets and all that kind of thing with like, oh, these are just like dangerous conspiracy theorists, toxic fascist Nazi people, right? So you have an extremely totalitarian culture and precedent that's been set. I mean, they can arbitrarily just censor whatever the fuck they want. And before now, they've always had an excuse. We all knew their excuses were bullshit. We did. You knew they were bullshit, and I knew they were bullshit, right? The thing is, they don't even have an excuse anymore. They're just doing it to quell dissent. I mean, there is no... I would love to hear another explanation for why misinformation on a fucking war that's happening on the other side of the world could be of any harm. I mean, why... Let's say I was just a guy who was a liar, and I was just like, let's say there's like a war going on. I just have to be hypothetical, right? Let's say there's a war going on in like Latvia, and I'm like, the Latvians are using exploding cows to attack vegans, and there's a Latvian separate... I just made shit up. That's like misinformation. I mean, even if I was lying and not telling the truth, what material harm does that create? What material harm does that... You're just what? You're not allowed to... is humor allowed then? I mean, it's like there's no way of being able to vet the facts and the truth in a way that there's a universal consensus written in our Constitution somewhere about, all right? We are always going to disagree about facts as a society. That's why the Constitution doesn't say The First Amendment. The people are entitled to have freedom of speech only if it's factual. No, our Constitution says freedom of speech. Why? Because people are always going to disagree about facts, right? So why is it harmful to spread misinformation, even if the charge could be sustained, which it can't be? Keep in mind, look, one of the biggest pro-Ukraine streamers, this is what boils anger inside of me, okay? Adam Something is by far one of the biggest pro-Ukraine YouTube content creators. Hey, YouTube, are you listening to this, YouTube? Adam Something was a content creator in whose content your views were reflected the most. We debated Adam Something, and on the facts, on the verifiable facts, we fucking rolled him. So he represented your ability to defend whether or not Jackson's content was misinformation, and he failed, which proves you can't really sustain the view in an objective way, at least, that it is misinformation. But again, even in the worst case scenario, even in the event that it was misinformation, it wouldn't make a fucking difference. It would not do any harm. Not any demonstrable harm, at least, unless you want to try and argue it could do some demonstrable harm that we're not able to be privy to. It just couldn't. It's stupid. It's not even something worth entertaining, right? So that's where we're at now. And again, people haven't noticed it because what they've done with the whole censorship thing is it's like a boiling the frog, right? I mean, but you guys aren't thinking like lawyers when you're subjected to those tricks. You're just like some random guy sitting on your couch and you're like, oh yeah, they've been censoring people for a long time. But you haven't read the fine print. Every other reason they've had for censoring people, they've always had an excuse. Which, if the excuse was true, would be reasonable, right? The excuse has never been legitimate. Don't get me wrong, it's never been legitimate, but at least they had the courtesy of giving us an excuse. The fact that there's this new precedent of censoring people over Ukraine, they don't have an excuse anymore. So now, I mean, the next stage is they're going to just censor people who don't support Joe Biden. In the upcoming midterms and in the upcoming general election, you know, conservative voices are going to be censored. MAGA forces are going to be censored on YouTube. And no one's going to make a big deal about it because everyone's just going to say, well, that's what they've been doing for a long time. Well, at least in the past, they gave us excuses. They're not giving us excuses anymore. They're just fucking wielding this power in an arbitrary way. I mean, I'll give you some good news. I'm not just gonna be here to be pessimistic. I'll give you some good news, I guess. The good news on the flip side, I guess, right, is that every time I go out, this was when I was in Austin, I was in Texas, even when I was in LA, and especially here in Michigan, every time I go out and talk to normal people, just talk to strangers, right? Everyone's secretly based. Everybody's watching BitChute. Everybody's watching InfoWars. Everybody's low-key like, yeah, you know, they're censoring everything on that surface web. We know that's not the truth. We know that's not the truth. We're getting real shit, right? We know that's not the truth, okay? So we're already critical of everything we see on the surface web because we know it's not the truth right now. We know the globalists are lying to us. We know the elites are lying to us and they have an agenda. I mean, everyone I meet is a conspiracy theorist. And it's given me the impression that everyone who you see on Twitter and everyone who you see on Reddit, those are the 2% of the glasses wearers like, yeah, What do you mean? Trust the science. And they have that fluoride stare, and they're literal NPCs. So this is how it works. Let's say you're at a bar, right? And there's a bunch of bartenders, or there's, a cook or whatever the fuck at a bar working the back. And there's that one bartender guy, and he's like, "Trust the science. Oh yeah." And then everybody who's like interacting with him, "Oh yeah, sure. Sure, Eustace. Yep, trust the science." So everybody's putting up a front. So this guy, Eustace, is totally clueless, and he thinks like everyone's a leftist NPC just like him, right? But little does Eustace know what people really think deep down. The real views they have, which they're concealing, because Eustace is a fucking snitch, and he's gonna get them fired if their real views come to the surface, right? And that pretty much describes our society right now. That pretty much describes the entire society. Everybody's fronting. The only people I ever see who are ranting and raving about conspiracy theories, I'm gonna be real with you, it's when I walk into a small business, an appliance store, or something like that. And it'll either be the owner or it'll be the workers there. And they'll just say whatever the fuck they want. The workers at that I was at an appliance store the other day. The workers at the appliance store, oh, they're going off. The Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum and all that kind of shit. Uncensored, saying whatever the fuck they want. They're talking about drag queens. I mean, they are literally saying whatever the fuck they want, right? You want to know why? Because they can. They don't work for a corporate institution which is going to force them to have certain views. They could literally say anything they want.
Based.
We are living in a dictatorship of the glasses wearers.
Thank you so much, Johnny. Appreciate you, man. Okay, you keep spamming me to debate Jay Dyer. Dude, don't ever fucking spam me in my chat. I guess I will have to contact him or something, because I haven't been contacted and you're spamming me anyway. So yeah. So, I mean, yeah, that's what we're dealing with, guys. I mean, we're dealing with that. Everyone's either putting up a front, or they're already in a community or an environment in which they can say whatever they want with no filter, and there's no lib shits to be found. But all that's offline. They're not on the internet, and they're not doing it on the internet because they don't, to be completely honest, they don't trust anything on the internet. They don't trust anything. You know what they do trust? They trust these little videos they send each other. TikTok videos, and their WhatsApp groups, and, bitch shoot stuff, and InfoWars and shit. That's really, I mean, there is a profound shift in the people's consciousness in this country. And you will never even get a hint of that if you're on the surface web. There has been a profound shift in the people's consciousness since COVID. COVID was the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of the censorship. And since then, there's a whole underground site of, resistance, right? In terms of people's opinions. The issue is that it's not organized in a centralized way. So it's hard for us to find each other on the internet. We're only able to find each other offline. And we find each other very easily offline, right? Because it's every other person offline on the street. It's just on the surface web, everything's censored or obscure. It's either obscure on some website no one knows about, or it's censored. That's why I like Truth Social so much, because everyone knows about Truth Social. And I like Truth Social because everyone's there, right?
Thank you for always speaking the truth in these dark times. Also, please give us more debate content.
Thank you, Amila.
Gorilla,
and
son,
yeah,
Gorilla, son.
Don't worry about that, because I'm very aware of the debate drought, and also how that has negatively impacted the channel. I mean, I'm aware of these things, guys. Don't worry. I'm aware of how that's negatively impacted the channel. I'm aware of how it's literally a necessity for my streams to do debates. So yeah, there's going to be debates. Don't worry about the debates. As a matter of fact, right after I cover this content and a few other things, we are gonna get right into a Twitter space, and we're gonna be doing a Twitter space. And thank you so much,
From
Ballin.
my experience, most people are inherently conspiratorial and skeptical of the government. It's just that they live in real life and aren't terminally online.
Thank you so much, Ballin. I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right. One of my short-term goals, when I say short-term, I mean like within the next year or the year. Within the year or the next year, right? I want to somehow pioneer a way for us to find each other. We can't find each other on the surface web anymore. So we're going to have to use some cryptography. We're going to have to start using actual dog whistles, which we're already doing, by the way. And I don't mean dog whistles for like anti-Semitism or something. I mean like dog whistles of like, yeah, we're based and anti-establishment, but the establishment can't censor us for this dog whistle, right? So we're going to have these. I don't believe in alternative platforms. I just don't. Now, Rumble, I can really see making my HQ because Jackson's doing very well on Rumble. But at the same time, Rumble is not a place, I don't think, where you can grow. I think Rumble has a very limited audience when you're just stuck there. So we do have to go to the surface web where 99% of people are. And we have to find a way to find each other, right? And then we have to grow that way. So I always believe I'll always have to be on the surface web somehow, right? Even if I get banned from everything, I'll find a way to get on. If I get banned from everything, I will literally come back in anonymous form. And I won't even say that I'm Haas. I'll create a brand new community based on this anonymous guy. And I can do that. Because I have the sauce. I have the content. I'm not famous because of legacy or precedent. I'm famous because of the content, right? There'll be a few people who know it's me and shit, but most people won't know it's me. And I'll come back in anonymous form. You know, I'll have VPNs and shit. I'll be on Twitter primarily is what I mean. On Twitter. I'm talking about Twitter. YouTube, please. I don't have any plans for ban evasion, YouTube. I mean Twitter, right? And that's what I'll do. I'll always be here. I'll always be on the surface. I'll be on the surface to drag you back to Tartarus. Be on the surface to drag you back to the underground. And I have no plan. I don't believe in fully going underground. I don't believe in that. I don't think it's possible. I think you gotta have a foot on the surface web, where it's at, right? And I will never give up. I will never give up. I will always strive to publicize and reach people. Always, no matter what happens, I'll always try to do that. I'm honestly like, look, the one thing that would be hard maybe is if the payments got fucked up, but there's always Rumble's payment system. If Patreon got rid of me and YouTube demonetized me, Jackson, that's what happened to Jackson. Besides the Patreon, Jackson, he's on Rumble's thing, which I would also be on, right? And if that's not enough to make a living off of this, I would find other ways to try and get by. It might slow this down by a year or two or a few years. But where there's a will, there's a way. I'll always find a way. Even if I go back to law school, which I don't think is going to happen, unless I can get it online, right? But I'm having meetings and shit next week about that. I am dedicating my life to this. I'm dedicating my life to it. I will never go away.
Keep fighting the Nazi libs.
Thank you, Vladdy. I mean, even if it gets to the point where I have to move to another country, I have to move back to Lebanon, or I move to Russia or China, I'm always going to be here. I'm always going to be fucking working for this. Always. 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 And guys, I'm here to promise you something. I always tell you this. If anything ever happened to me, just know it was them. Just know that. And I'm promising you that with 1000% certainty. Okay? If anything ever happened to me, you know who to blame.
Based.
Up to this date, there's been no way to scale the reproductive health of our planet, so no one should have authority to judge the parameters on its climate.
Yeah. Yeah. You're absolutely right about that, Forky. You're right about that 1000%. So yeah, I want you guys to know that I'm in here for the long game. We just got started, right? There's no life for me except a life dedicated to building the party of the working class and seeing that party to victory. And, you know, I'm here as a streamer, but this is my ultimate goal in life. This is ultimately what's motivating me. This is a means to an end. It's just a means to an end. So we're going to watch what Chomsky has to say, which actually may shock you, may surprise you. Daniel Baker, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you so much, Daniel Baker. Appreciate you so much, man. Thank you. Look at this. Chomsky. The US is living under a totalitarian culture much worse than the Soviet Union. Soviet Russia could access BBC, Voice of America. Today, Americans are not permitted to hear what Russians are saying. The US has imposed constraints beyond the Soviets. Chomsky's right. Just hear him in his own words.
Take the United States today. It is living under a kind of totalitarian culture, which
Forky, good morning, Revolution. Forky, thank you so much, man. Shout out Forky from Twitch. Been a long time. Hopefully, you know, hopefully I'll be unbanned one day, right? But I'm not optimistic. Not optimistic, but, you know, pretty harsh with how they banned me, right? Permanently. Over what, right? Maybe I'm just not repentant enough. Maybe I'm just not repentant enough, right? I'm not repentant. I'm sorry. I really don't think I did anything wrong. I don't. Maybe, I mean, I know they have new rules now, and that's why I wouldn't primarily stream there if I got unbanned, if they still have those rules. But it's kind of like, it's kind of fucking disgusting how they completely banned me. So like, what, I can't even fucking collab with Twitch streamers. I can't even go to TwitchCon. I can't do anything like that. I mean, okay. You made your statement.
has never existed in my lifetime and is much worse in many ways than the Soviet Union before Gorbachev. Go back to the 1970s, people in Soviet Russia could access BBC, Voice of America, German television, if they wanted to find out the news.
Thank you so much, Comrade Johnsky. Yeah, they could access foreign Western media in the Soviet Union.
If today in the United States you want to find out what Prime Minister Lavrov of Russia is saying, can't do it. It's barred.
Hey, Vosh, are you going to talk about this, Vosh? This is your fucking daddy, Vosh. Are you going to talk about this?
Americans are not permitted to hear what Russians are saying. Can't get Russian television, can't access Russian sources. That means also that fine American journalists like Chris Hedges, one of the best, is cut out, barred from Americans because he happens to have a program running on RT, Russian television. You want to find out what the adversary is saying, which is of utmost importance. You can maybe tune into Indian state television and find it out, or you can read it on Al Jazeera. But the United States has imposed constraints on freedom of access to information, which are astonishing, and which in fact go beyond what was the case in post-Stalin Soviet Russia.
I mean, it's just true. It's just true. Now, Chomsky, maybe he's toward the end of his life and he wants to repent for all his sins. And that's why he's just telling the truth now. Because he's spread a lot of malicious lies in his lifetime. Which is why we have BreadTube, by the way. That's why we have it. But now he's seeing the light. And it's pretty clear that no one can say he's saying it because he's biased. No one can say Chomsky's a Russian shill or a Russian agent. Chomsky's always been a liberal. He's always been a pro-Western liberal in almost every case. He's been critical of the policies of the US government. Who hasn't been, right? But ultimately, he's siding with the free world most of the time, right? He said the Soviet Union was an immense victory. The collapse of the Soviet Union was a victory for socialism. That's what he said. So no one can say he's a pro-Russian shill who's biased. This is a man who's a liberal, who's observing what's happening in the US's media culture and on social media, and he's saying, holy fucking shit, I have never seen anything like this. This is worse than even the Soviet Union during the 70s. And even he's admitting that now. And this is a champion of the free world. This is not an agent of a foreign power.
Chomsky was cheerleading Gorby, and Gorby was telling the Soviet people that Chomsky was in charge in the USA in the late 80s. Never forget.
That's true. Thank you, Chris Morlock. Yeah, the Soviet people were almost exclusively exposed to Chomsky as a representative of the US. So when the Soviet people thought all US media was like Chomsky, you know, they thought it was like very self-critical, and they thought it was, you know, very intelligent and whatever and composed. And the Soviet people, I mean, they consumed a lot of Noam Chomsky. He is probably culpable in some manner himself, at least to some degree, for the collapse of the Soviet Union, just because of his ideology and how much he was able to. That's why Chomsky has always been an asset of the State Department. I think Chomsky was propped up to trick not people in the West, but the Soviet people. He was propped up to like create the appearance of a socialism, a critical socialism that's critical of the US, whose net outcome is going to be more destructive toward actually existing socialism than actually existing capitalism, right? And that's why I've always thought Chomsky was an asset. I think they deliberately had this guy propped up as someone who the Soviets would trust, but who is sneakily kind of infecting them with the Western liberal ideology. Regardless, just like Henry Kissinger, who is also an agent of US imperialism, Chomsky can recognize that the West has lost the plot when it comes to Russia, especially with its just completely indefensible, it's entirely, as I should actually add, it's entirely indefensible censorship policies. I mean, no reasonable person could defend these. No reasonable person could defend that. Think about it. How could you fucking defend that? How could you defend that level of censorship? Could anyone really defend that? Could you convince anyone really to defend that? I mean, I don't think you could. I think it's fundamentally indefensible. And I think most people would consider it that way too, if they were even confronted with knowledge of what's going on, right? The awareness, I mean, Glenn Greenwald's trying to do a great job of bringing awareness to the censorship. No one wants to listen to him. They all call him a red-brown, whatever, actor. So, I mean, you have to understand that it's extreme. Oh, look at something that's trending on Twitter. So this is a term trending on Twitter that YouTube is now banning. Just want to let you know that this is not something you can say on YouTube anymore because it's considered hate speech according to YouTube's policies. Pretty insane, right? It's considered hate speech. So yeah. That's just a whole nother level, right? So there's something else I wanted to show you. And this is more lighthearted, and I think this is going to be a palate cleanser before we get into our Twitter space debate.
Based.
Hello, thank you so much,
Don't
man.
trip, dog. Even if you were made to leave the US, the guerrillas will continue to pound our chests. You may not know us, but we care about the Lebanon man with beard, flex biceps, no homo.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you. I appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot, man. Yeah. You guys are you guys are the reason I'm here. I always have to stress that. I think I would have quit streaming a long time ago if it wasn't for the community. I probably would have quit streaming sometime in the spring of last year if it wasn't for the community. At first, I wasn't streaming for the community, to be honest. I was streaming because it was exciting, and I was streaming because, you know, it was a lot of fun, and I was enjoying myself a lot. But it was really when I started to see a community take shape, which I've never, been. Listen, guys, I want to tell you the truth. I've never been part of a community on the internet. I haven't. I've never been part of a community. There's never been any community that ever resonated with me or that I ever saw was authentic or I ever liked or that I could relate to in any kind of way. I've always been a lone thinker. And I've always been like, the community of the future will just, eventually they'll get it right. And nobody got it right. So seeing this community emerge, just the fact that I can be a part of it too, that's why I'm doing this. This is what I believe in, ultimately, right? I just believe in, there's like other people who agree with me about this shit. Because I used to feel like nobody else agreed with me. I used to feel like I must be crazy. Because I hate all these leftists so fucking much. But like I'm still a communist. And it's like, there's like no one like that, right? And then our community comes to be. And it's very clear that this message resonates with people. There's people out there for whom this message not only resonates for them, but they needed to hear it. It was there inside of them this whole time. It was just never articulated in any kind of way. The articulation, it's something we did offline, or not offline, but out of the public sight. We did it in private and in secret. And we came out into the light, and it's like, holy fuck, this resonates with people. This is not just, we're not just fucking insane. It's just not just like a fluke or something mistaken. This actually, we opened up a fucking portal in fucking cyberspace or some shit that was never there before. And protecting this has been such a difficult task. We have been fighting for a year. I've been fighting for a year. Uphill battle for a year. I've been fighting and fighting and fighting. Come a long, long way. And worth it. Because this is one of those things that if you don't have the strength to defend it, they'll just fucking crush us. They'll just fucking crush us, right? You gotta defend this shit. You gotta put effort into it. Because if you don't, if you just stop to rest for a second, they're gonna fucking crush you. And it'll be like you had never existed. It'll be like this was never even possible. It's not the online thing. It's the potential. Because this online community proves to me there's a potential in real life too. This is a virtual reality, but this virtuality can be actualized. That needs to be defended. Because if it doesn't get defended, we're back to square one. We're back to fucking square one. This shit is not just going to happen spontaneously, guys. It's not going to be easy. A genuine communist position in the United States of America, that is not easy to grow, it's not easy to defend, and it's not easy to build. I was waiting for years for something to happen, and nothing happened. It's not going to happen by itself. That's the lesson. It's just not. We have to work. I have to work, right? Most of all, to defend this. It's been more than a year, you know? It's been more than a year. And I'm just getting started. People would think, oh, did you run out of energy yet, Haas? Nope. I'm on 48 hours awake right now, pretty much. Last night, I got like 2 hours of sleep. I didn't get any sleep last night. I don't care, I got the energy. Thank you, Chris.
I'm 45 years old, and there is another dude in the audience that is 73. Our tendency is the world standard for communists. It's just been suppressed in the USA for 50 years. I grew up with first-generation communists. This was the way it was.
Wow. Chris, thank you so much for the dono, but also, you know, thank you for the message, man. Wow. You know, it may not seem like it, man, but your words are very reassuring to us, because we, and I'm going to speak for myself, I really feel like this is uncharted territory. Like, we don't know where we're going with this, and we really sometimes feel like we don't know if this is even legitimate, right? So the fact that people like you spent your whole life in this, and you remembered this original spark, and you're telling us that this thing we're doing online reminds you of that, it's extremely encouraging to me, and I'm sure for everyone else, you know, but especially to me, at least speaking for myself, it's extremely reassuring. Because it's what I believe. It's just it's never been proven to me. I didn't experience what you did. I wasn't there. I ultimately don't know. Like, if I was put into a time machine and I was interacting with the first generation of communists, sometimes I wonder, like, would they also call me a fascist? Would I be considered, you know, a non-communist in some way or whatever? And, you know, I don't think so on a theoretical level, but I don't know in actual reality, right? There's no way for me to know. So, I mean, we really appreciate you guys here who do know that. And, you know, I'm always going to have to apologize to you for my silliness and antics and shit. But also, I appreciate that you guys look past that, right? I mean, I could only imagine how much the internet is just such a weird, strange, and disorienting place. Because it is for me, and I'm 26 years old, right? Yeah, I mean, like, to be honest, in person, if I was with serious communists, I would be super embarrassed to act like how I do on stream, you know? But I don't know. So I don't know. I can't really promise I'll change because it's just how I am, you know? Anyway, this is the kind of palate cleanser because this is actually funny. So we're going to do this, and then we're going to do a Twitter space where we actually debate. We're gonna have some fun tonight. There was a debate I had last week on Saturday, and it lasted till like 6 a.m. And it was Yankee Tanky was there. It was the best content it was the best Twitter space I've ever been in. And I'm so sad that I wasn't streaming it. So I don't know if we're gonna get to that level of content, but we'll get something, right?
This attack yesterday, and to those who broke the law, you will pay. You do not represent our movement, you do not represent our country, and if you broke the law, you can't say that. I'm not gonna, I already said you will pay. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defied the seat of justice. It's defiled, right? See, I can't see it very well. Okay, I'll do this. I'm going to do this. Let's go. But this election is now over. Congress has certified the results. I don't want to say the election's over. I just want to say Congress has certified the results without saying the election's over, okay?
But Congress is certified. Now Congress is
Yeah, right.
Now Congress
I didn't say over, so let me see. Go to the paragraph before. Okay? I would like to begin by addressing the heinous attack yesterday. Yesterday is a hard word for me.
What the fuck is going?
Just take it out. The heinous attack.
Ah, good. Take the word yesterday, because it doesn't work with the heinous attack on our country. Say on our country. Want to say that?
No, keep it.
My only goal was to ensure the integrity of the vote. My only goal was to ensure the integrity of the vote.
See, you never see that side of Trump on camera, but that's just me on camera all the fucking time. Every fucking frustration I have, when the slightest thing happens, you get everything. You get everything. I like this Trump. I like this Trump. You'd think it'd make him look worse. It doesn't. I think it makes him look a lot better. Lot better, right? But he had to read off a fucking script. They forced him to say. We all knew he was forced to say that shit. We knew it wasn't him, right? We all knew that. Everyone knew that, right? It was crystal clear, patently clear to everybody. So anyway, we're gonna do this Twitter space. And it's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna do a debate. Should I title it Barista Debate? Should I keep the barista shit up? I don't want to. I know a lot of people are sick of it. I know a lot of people are sick of it. Barista. Barista. Truth exposed. Should I call it Barista Apocalypse? Should I keep Barista Discourse up, or should I do it something else? Barista Battle Royale. Should I call it Barista Battle Royale? Should I say baristas should not exist? Or abolish baristas? Should I say abolish baristas? Abolish baristas. Abolish baristas. That's what we're calling it. All right, starting the space now. And I'm gonna pee. I'm gonna go piss, and I'll be right back. And we're gonna get it. We're gonna get right into it. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna go piss. I'll be right back. Anyone who defends the existence of baristas is an enemy of the working class. Baristas are the most indefensible type of profession that does exist. Anyone who wants to claim that baristas are productive laborers involved in the production of surplus value will be destroyed upon trying to defend such an argument. Baristas do not represent the working class. They may be part of the working class doing the daily grind, fine. but they do not represent the working class, because the only way you can represent the working class is by representing types of jobs that would exist even upon the overthrow of the bourgeoisie, which baristas would definitely not. Meanwhile, other forms of work would still persist by necessity of unleashing the forces of production and creating a republic of labor. I am here to put an end to the barista discourse once and for all. I would love to see anyone try and defend Starbucks baristas in particular, as proletarian laborers engaged in the production of surplus value, given Starbucks' model of accumulation. Many coffee houses existed before Starbucks. Barista labor was never enough to produce a form of capital accumulation that would allow for the expansion of those franchises. Clearly, Starbucks does not derive its revenue or its model of accumulation based on exploitation of the labor of baristas.
My grandpa helped to send Yuri Gagarin to space. Let's get ourselves to Mars, baby. Us, please bless my grandpa. He passed away from COVID.
I absolutely bless your grandpa. Allah yahmra, you know. I don't know exactly how to do it, but you know, may his soul rest in peace. May his soul rest in peace. Sorry to hear that as well. I'm really sorry to hear that. Yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that. But we're gonna get back into this. But yeah, thank you so much for the donation. Appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, there has been so much discourse over the question of the Starbucks baristas and the Starbucks labor union. In particular, I have seen people try and say that this discourse, which was not even fueled by us, but it became the battle cry that will come to distinguish Mecha Tankies from all others on Twitter. You're saying that we are being funded by Howard Schultz to union bust, and that's why this is happening. No, ladies and gentlemen, the Starbucks labor union will completely fail independently of our efforts. It'll fail independently of our efforts because Starbucks' model of accumulation has absolutely nothing to do with the exploitation of labor and surplus value. Starbucks is not a strategic sector of the economy. Starbucks can easily collapse and absolutely nothing would fucking happen. It would not so much as cause a dent in the American economy or even in the revenues of financial capital. The experimental model of the coffee house, which was replicated based on creating the atmosphere and scenery and experience of the Milan cafes artificially by Howard Schultz, that model of accumulation has nothing to do with the exploitation of surplus value from baristas. If it did, then the surplus value of baristas working in other coffee houses before the entire Starbucks franchise came into existence would have also spread and became successful, not even just on a nationwide scale, but just in terms of chain, being able to create a chain. The so-called second wave of coffee house culture in the United States is 1000% a form of amusement and theme park type of enterprise. It's not based on the production of commodities. Commodities production, just like in Disney World, is completely incidental and is subordinated to a model of accumulation that is based on the recreation or artificial creation of artificial socialities and social atmospheres and, cultural interactions, yada, 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 to which even commodity production is subordinate to. The overwhelming majority of Starbucks' revenue has nothing to do with commodity production, or at least isn't primarily based on commodity production whatsoever. Because in the age of this era of the capitalist mode of production, whatever you want to characterize that, whether it's a socialist mode of production or whether it's a late stage imperialism, whatever you want to call it, the actual sources of revenue, which are rent-based in nature, themselves plan production indirectly. They're forms of cohering the supply chains of production and ultimately giving purpose to the supply chains, to the production itself. So in Starbucks' case, you have a complete inversion, just like the rest of capitalist enterprises or corporations and franchises that exist today, whether it's going to be the Disney Corporation or it's going to be something like Apple. You have a complete inversion of the model of capital accumulation described by Marx in Capital. In Marx's model of capital accumulation, one begins with commodity production and the generation of surplus profits on the basis of the exploitation of labor. This is what allows for an expansion of commodity production and ultimately an expansion of the forces of production, producing the crisis of overaccumulation and the falling rate of profit, and yada, yada, yada. This is what produces the great contradiction of the capitalist mode of production. Whereas in today's corporations and franchises, you do not have a scenario in which the mode of accumulation proceeds from the bottom up in this way, beginning from the production and sale of commodities. Rather, you have interfaces on the forces of production in the form of brands, in the form of experiences and artificial forms of sociality, which themselves represent a higher form of the generation of value, even than the traditional one described by Marx. This one is not based on the exploitation of labor, but based somehow on the exploitation of sociality itself. And the most primitive form of this exploitation, or at least, the most advanced form of this exploitation in 2022 is the collection of data. You see, Starbucks and other franchises like it just represent a very primitive form, not of the accumulation of surplus value, but the accumulation of data. Data which is used in order to measure the profitability of this enterprise for investors and for stockmongers and financial capitalists and people who are trying to make derivative profits based on Starbucks' revenue. Starbucks is primarily concerned with the production. Yes, Starbucks may be engaged in some type of exploitation. It's definitely not the exploitation of productive labor, which is concerned with the production of material things and material use values, which is something Starbucks does not do. Starbucks, if it's exploiting anything, it's exploiting the data of its consumers for the financial capitalists making derivative profits off of it. The so-called labor that baristas engage in, however tiring, grueling, and admittedly dehumanizing it is not a form of productive labor that produces the form of capitalist accumulation, which is a form of accumulation, again, based on the production and sale of commodities, which is itself the source of the production of surplus value. That is not what baristas did. Again, if the barista profession produced any type of surplus value, then franchises, this guy's laughing, so he's going to be able to debate really well, I imagine, then franchises before Starbucks would have been able to take off, and they never were. Their model of accumulation, it was never enough to exploit labor for them to take off. Okay, this guy's laughing, so I'm sure he has really good arguments. So this is Mecca taking moments, making fun of Haas, Samira, and Keaton every day to expose their hypocrisy. Let's add them as a speaker. Go ahead.
Why do you insist on doing some of the most obscene bullshit I've ever seen within social media? You are producing content to
can you light your cigarette in the hole that's in your neck again? I can't really hear you that well. Can you maybe cough out that hairball, Cat in the Hat? Because this is the Cat in the Hat. There's no doubt about that. He's a super duper feline, right? This dude's got a motherfucking hairball he's got to spit out, and he's trying to light his fucking cigarette on his neck. Now, if I recall correctly, you were spamming the laugh emote. I'm not hearing anyone laughing. I'm just hearing somebody who most likely has lung cancer and is not going to be with us within the year, okay? So first of all, that whole posturing where you're spamming the laughing emoji was completely just a form of performative posturing. It had no basis in reality. Congratulations for admitting you're a bitch and an insincere pussy, right? But do you have any actual arguments about the debate at hand? But he ran away. I've never seen a bigger pussy than that. They mustered the courage to come on the space and try and challenge me. And they were so embarrassed by what they did that they just fucking ran away and left. That was the most pathetic performance I've ever seen in my life. Are they still with us? Okay, well, I can't. Yeah, I this person is, I can't hear them. I'm gonna add Alti. And this is Mar, okay? I'll add Mar. In the meantime.
Hello?
Hello, Mar.
How are you doing, Haz?
Good, how are you?
Great. Personally, I think if you're a barista, you put yourself into that situation, stop complaining.
I mean, I don't know if I would say that, but I'm just really suspicious as to why baristas are being upheld as the model of the working class. But I think in a hypothetical world, should baristas exist? Do you think? Don't you think Starbucks has given rise to satanic encounters between people, or demonic encounters where people are artificially, engaged with one another in non-traditional ways?
Yes. Even the very logo is satanic. I mean, look at that thing. That thing is obviously the devil.
That's a Mother Gaia. Isn't that Mother Gaia? They're worshiping Mother Gaia on Starbucks.
It's either supposed to be some stupid mermaid idolatrous nonsense, or it's supposed to be Greek idolatrous nonsense. I can't remember which one.
It's the Mother Gaia. That's what they're worshiping. All right, we have communist Dennis Prager. Let's bring on communist Dennis Prager.
No, but no, that thing is so obviously satanic. There's no doubt. Yeah.
Indeed. What is?
I will say, like I said, making people wait in long lines or whatever it is in their damn car for coffee makes me laugh.
Yeah, I agree. It's a completely wasteful and pointless thing.
Yeah, I agree. It's a completely wasteful
there's feedback,
and
Dennis
pointless.
Prager. Can you fucking fix your shit?
I'm Dennis Prager.
I got it. I just wanted to read you something, Haas, from Twitter, which is contrary to what I think you've been saying, and just get your take on it. Is that all right?
Hold on, before you read it, are you going to be willing to debate about it?
I could try, sure.
Okay, as long as you're willing to debate about it, you can read whatever you want. But you actually have to make an argument too. So you read it first.
Yeah.
Read it first, and then put into your own words why this supports your argument.
All right. So the first part of it says productive labor is not defined by whether you personally feel the commodity produced by a worker, by the worker's labor is necessary. So capitalism doesn't organize production according to needs, which are also flexible and unfixed, but in order to produce surplus value for private accumulation. I'm mostly just going off the first part of that. It just seems like saying unproductive labor, wage workers engaged in unproductive labor are not proletarian is a little controversial. That's all. To me, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but I appreciate a lot of the other things that you do say. So, what's your take on that? Are they proletarian?
So, just to address the question of whether they're engaged in productive labor or not, because I think that's a more relevant distinction. The question of whether they're proletarian or part of the working class, I don't think is as important, because that's not something. I'm not really dying on the hill that people who have to work these jobs 9 to 5 to survive are not working class. I just want to insist upon the fact that they don't represent the proletariat proper, at least in the sense of like the nucleus of the proletarian class, which produces value. So I'm not saying Starbucks workers are not engaged in productive labor because I personally don't care about Starbucks coffee. I'm saying that they're not engaged in productive labor because their labor does not propel forward the valorizing process of capital accumulation. Their labor is actually not responsible for producing the surplus profits that Starbucks does receive, because those surplus profits do not correspond to surplus value in any relevant sense. That's not only because for Marx it was an axiom that the valorizing process is concerned with the production of material use values. It also has to do with Marx's argument that labor power's value itself derives from the reproduction of the relative conditions of the subsistence of that.
Okay.
So in other words, it would have to be a form of labor which pays for the conditions of its own subsistence, which Starbucks does not do. I mean, and for Marx, by the way, he was a materialist. He did ultimately believe that, yes, the source of capitalist production does come from the material transformation of nature by labor, ultimately from the production of physical things. For Marx, that merely manifested itself at the level of the internal contradictions of the value form in the form of the falling rate of profit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot there. So you might say that people engaged in unproductive labor are less revolutionary. They're a less revolutionary part of the proletariat. I mean, if that's the case, I don't know that I have an argument against that.
Yeah, and especially today, and the reason I say that's especially true today is for two reasons. One is that they are inherently coerced into having to side with the status quo, strictly in the form of the broad imperialist consensus. Now, Starbucks workers they're not even forming their own independent labor union. They're just being unionized by the establishment union. They may do things like that, right? But when it comes to gaining an anti-imperialist mass base, their position makes that difficult because their revenue is derived from not only monopoly capitalism, everything's monopoly capitalism. It's derived from a form of social, engineering and kind of institutionalization that is the only reason Starbucks accumulates anything in the first place, because this is like artificial civil society created by imperialism, which Starbucks is a part of, and which doesn't produce value, by the way, but which the revenues of these laborers, if you can call them that, is dependent on, right? So it's very hard for them to be able to assert their own independent interests, not tied to that institution or any other given established institution. I don't think it's a coincidence that the Amazon Labor Union was an independent union and the Starbucks union is part of some established union. I think there's a very clear reason for that. But
okay, and you don't think that Starbucks or similar jobs organizing into unions could be just a positive image overall and encourage other workers, even if they're in industrial fields and so on, to organize?
Ultimately, the problem rests with which union is doing it. If it was an independent Starbucks union, that may very well be possible, but it's like a cart before the horse. Such an independent union probably wouldn't be possible in the first place, or I'd flat out say wouldn't be possible in the first place. And that's ultimately, I'm not saying it's a bad thing necessarily, I'm just saying it has nothing to do with communist goals, is my main argument.
All right, well, I think I get where you're coming from, and sorry for not pushing back more, but thank you for answering.
We have a more aggressive or belligerent opponent, so yeah, I appreciate you coming on. So this person's laughing. This person who ran away like a bitch is now laughing, so I hope I hear immediate laughter. Go ahead, unmute and quickly laugh.
Once again, here we are with you trying to destroy the Starbucks union. And quite honestly, it is absolutely disgusting.
You sound like a tweaker.
You should not be fighting against the Starbucks union.
Okay.
Working people still have to feed themselves, feed their children.
Hold on.
But you are here trying to take the food out of people's mouths. That is disgusting. If everyone is unionized, we're better off. And that's the thing we have to realize. If we are all unionized, every person who actually fights for a union in the workplace, they will be better off.
What about
that
CIA
is the reality.
Should CIA
when you want to take the food out of people's mouths, the food out of a baby's mouth, that is what you're advocating for, sir. And that is why you are not revolutionary. You are part of the Red Yellow Alliance. The Red Yellow Alliance. You don't actually want workers to have power. You want to build us up into a digital gilded age. That's what you're fighting for. You're not fighting for the working class.
This is destroying the world.
And that's why we need to defeat the president of the fighting against the working class struggle every single day. That is what you are doing. It could have been you that ends up in this fight. But you don't care.
He's such an asshole. He's the worst. He's worse than Hitler.
Money grabbing with absolutely no talent whatsoever. You're a disgrace.
All right, what do you? I have to mute everyone.
Disgrace to the human society.
So I'm
People like
all right, I'm gonna mute him. Okay.
People like you shouldn't even exist.
Permanently.
You are a disgrace. An absolute.
How do I do the mute thing?
Absolutely
you have to move them down. Wait, just do mute all.
Oh, mute everyone. Okay, perfect. All right, they're muted. All right. So I have to, you know. So you're saying that, first of all, there's a number of problematic things you're saying, right? First, you're saying I'm destroying the Starbucks labor union. I actually was going to make a tweet about this earlier because I find it really pathological. I think it's inevitably going to fail. And then you're going to blame people like me, even though all I'm doing is pointing out why communists, who are in no way decisive for the victory of that union, should have nothing to do with the Starbucks thing. Should focus on our efforts on something that actually matters, right? So me not giving a fuck about the Starbucks union doesn't mean I'm destroying the Starbucks union or taking food out of people's mouth. In all honesty, I'm completely fine with Starbucks workers stealing out of the cash register. Fuck it. I mean, if they want, I mean, I would never advocate for anything illegal, but like if they broke into Howard Schultz's house and like took all his money and shit, do you think I would care? I wouldn't. Go. It's a dog-eat-dog world. Get your bread however you want to get your bread. By the way, people who are immediately concerned with putting food in their kids' mouths are not going to be participating in the Starbucks union, and the reason, at least the efforts to unionize, and the reason for that is because it significantly increases the risk that you're going to be fired. So if your top priority is just immediately helping your family, you're probably not going to take the risk to unionize. It's the people who kind of believe in it as an ideal and out of principle that are going to lead the union effort. And it's only going to spread on the basis of that kind of leadership. So what you're saying is just completely illogical. And then secondly, you said we should support every unionization attempt, period. Now, since we are a finite number of people with finite energy, we obviously cannot be everywhere at once. And we have to take responsibility for who we choose to prioritize in terms of representation and who we don't. Because given our limited resources, it is of decisive importance that we're strategic about what we do, since there's so few of us. And by the way, in terms of us, I'm just saying anyone who's even claiming to be a communist. There are so few people who are interested in building a communist party that you do have to be strategic about who you support and who you give attention to and who you prioritize. This is not, you cannot be everywhere at once whatsoever. Finally, you said something about families. I don't really think you can support a family with Starbucks. I'm not sure how many people who work at Starbucks, I'm sure they exist, but I'm just, even as like a cliche or a trope, which is what I think it's more likely for someone to be a student in debt, which is still an abominable, circumstance of slavery, yada, yada. A young person in debt is probably more likely to be a Starbucks barista than like a person trying to put food on their family's table. I could be wrong about that, but, I would, let's look up the demographics of baristas. So Starbucks employment demographics. I might be wrong, right? Starbucks employment demographics. Starbucks worker demographics. So Starbucks, I'm looking for age. Is there anything in terms of age? Age. Is there really no data for age? There's no fucking data for age. Holy fuck. Starbucks, employment demographics, age. The average age of an employed barista is 24 years old. Okay, here we go. Barista demographics in the US. Age. The average age is 24 years old. So that's first thing I can find. So I don't think people really consider this a job that you can support a family off of, right? I just don't. 51% of baristas are 20 to 30 years old. 13% are 30 to 40, and only 6% are 40 plus years old. As for the rest, I presume that they are under 20. Okay? So, I mean, even like this fucking entire tirade you went off, where you're trying to scream at me for like harming families and shit. I mean, like even if it was true that I was a union buster, which I'm not, it's just really not true, right? In the first place. This initiative is not primarily being led by people trying to feed their families. It is probably led by people, you know, who are sick of the bullshit of having to work at Starbucks. You know, whatever. I mean, whatever the reasons are, I'm not trying to say the reasons are illegitimate. I just don't think that it's relevant for communists whatsoever, at least in the present stage. In the future, if, you know, if there's actually a working class movement, could communists have a stance on... I see, the thing is, if there was a working class movement, I don't think this shit would exist in the first place. There would either be, you know, a broad political movement to destroy the service industry, or at best, there could be resources for an independent union that's communist-led or something. But it's like, I don't see how you could logically say this is something communists should give a fuck about right now. I just don't. So I'm going to unmute this screaming fucking pussy, and hopefully they will have a coherent argument. Go ahead.
You should understand that any money being taken out of the monopoly capitalists and their wallets is a benefit for the working class. So therefore, because of that reality,
you're wrong.
It makes the most sense to support every labor movement, which, by the way, I don't see you going and doing anything to actually support any movement.
No, I
don't need your little fucking apartment
I'm
bedroom
everywhere once.
horse shit, unless you have a fucking DoorDash order or some shit, and then you cry about it.
Okay. So I'm gonna respond to that. The first thing you said is that we should support any attempt to remove money from capital. If that was the case, then we should support capital more than anyone else. The inherent tendency of capital in the ruling class right now is to burn as much money as they can and throw it away in the most wasteful manner. And moreover, even if you were right, since fiat money isn't actually commodity money, they can just print more, right? So they pretty much have unlimited money. So no, you're wrong. We shouldn't support anything.
No, they don't have unlimited money because the reality of China and Russia and the rest of the anti-imperialist bloc prevents the money extraction from the global south to stabilize fiat currency. As we speak at this very time, even countries like Saudi Arabia and Israel are currently switching to the Chinese yuan.
It doesn't matter. There's an unlimited supply of money in terms of taking money from the capitalists. There is, objectively.
But you're not actually taking money from the capitalists at that point, if that's the reality. You're taking money from
the capitalists don't care. The capitalists don't care about money because money is just a unit of account. Capitalists care more about data than they give a fuck about money. Money is downstream.
The more money that is in the hands of the working class people of the country means that they have the more resources to actually organize their workplace and their community. So it is just false that taking money from the capitalists does not benefit the working class.
Okay, so I'm gonna mute you if you're gonna keep it. I'm gonna mute you briefly, okay? Just because I don't want to be interrupted here. There's no reason to assume that. For example, the only thing separating a barista from a Google engineer is the barista doesn't get paid shit, right? But if a barista was a cozy job and it was like a nice job that people were comfortable with and gave them a lot of resources and shit, their loyalty would be with Starbucks. It would cement their loyalty to the institution and to capital itself. Now, the reason that's not true for the productive laborers, and this is why it's decisive, is that even though they get paid higher than most of the American working class, that's immaterial. Why? Because their labor is not based on the reproduction of institutions or artificially contrived forms of sociality. It's based on actual material labor. That is why you will never be able to fully bribe the productive working class. Whereas, I mean, it would be really easy to bribe Starbucks employees and cement their loyalty to imperialism. I mean, that would effectively turn them into a labor aristocracy, because there would be no root base among these Starbucks laborers with which you could approach and say, hey, you know, what do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose. Join this broader movement. Well, now they have a great deal to lose because they're now attached to their institution in a way that they weren't before. This is why Google employees and grad students and others will never be revolutionary, okay? Unless there's like individual exceptions. As a class, they will never be revolutionary. Never, okay? There's a reason for that. So what you're saying is just fucking wrong. Now, you're also saying something like we should take as much resources from the hands of capitalists as we can, but you're not doing that with the Starbucks unionization initiative. Starbucks is not going to have any... If Starbucks completely disappeared, let's just say it completely disappeared, it would not make a dent on imperialism. The basis of imperialism is not Starbucks. Starbucks is a symptom of, you know, a more fundamental relation. And not relation between people, moreover, but relation between countries and relation between polarities. That's why Starbucks exists. It doesn't fucking exist because it's the source of capitalist revenue. Actually, I would even argue Starbucks is not... Things like Starbucks are not the source of anything except, I mean, units of account. That's what the revenue amounts to. They're these units of accounts which factor in terms of financial capital and derivative profits, but those are, again, units of account of a more fundamental exploitative relationship based on imperialism. That's where the actual fucking money is. You can get rid of all these dumb fucking companies and nothing. I mean, just new ones would take their place that are founded upon the same exploitative relationship of imperialism. You can get rid of Starbucks, McDonald's, and all these other dumb fucking companies, and it won't matter because new ones will just take their place. Why? Because all these fucking companies ultimately are downstream from the fundamental imperialist relations of exploitation between polarities and peripheries and between countries. Go ahead.
So you believe that I and all of my fellow working people should starve? Because remember that 60 to 70% of the economy is the service industry. Yeah. There is nowhere else to go. There is no quote-unquote productive jobs for us to go to. So that means we are forced to stay in poverty. We are forced to...
Okay, you're just repeating the same thing over and over again, so I'm just going to mute you and respond, okay? And if I missed something, you can just open with what I missed. Because I don't like when people go off tangents, just repeating the same, like, diatribe. I'm starving! I have nowhere else to... I mean, your point is taken. You don't have to repeat that 1,000 more times. Your point is taken, okay? As far as your actual point is concerned, my message for you and your friends is as an individual. I have no fucking political message for you. And there's two reasons why I don't have a political message for you. One, you and your friends are not constituted as a class. You don't represent even Starbucks workers. You don't even represent service workers. You're just individuals insofar as you're engaging me in this capacity. The second reason is that even if you were constituted as some kind of social mass, I am just an individual. I'm not a party. Only a party can actually give a message to a social mass. Me as an individual, my advice for you is, you know, I don't fucking know. This is a dog-eat-dog world, so secure life for yourself before anything. And that's my advice for everyone. Do the most you can to get by in the best way you can. But the patent truth is that everyone who's telling you that, oh, unionizing is going to make your life better, that's a socially targeted form of rhetoric. That is not actual worthwhile individual advice one person can give to another. It's just not. Whether a union is going to succeed or not is up in the air. There's so many factors that decide whether that's possible. It's a social initiative. There's no guarantee in that. An individual is giving you advice and saying, oh, if you want to improve your life, you should engage in a revolution. They're not talking to you as an individual. They're talking to you as an anonymous social subject of their political project, which is actually pretty fucked up. That's actually why, you know, we have people on Twitter and on the internet. We don't have a culture of people who actually help each other. We just have a culture of people who are like, I'm going to apply some universal standard of how you should be helped in your life, you know, based on some contrived view of what I think is the universal. All these young girls who are trying to get, oh, just start an OnlyFans. There's nothing wrong with OnlyFans. OnlyFans is become a sex worker because I've decided universally that, you know, there's nothing morally wrong with it. They don't care that at the individual level, they're telling that person to basically fuck their life up forever and accumulate so much trauma, so much like, you know, scars. And they don't give a fuck about that, right? All they care about is addressing them as an anonymous social subject. Likewise, anybody who's giving you advice as an individual, who's telling you to put your own life on the line when there's like no mass party or anything. Oh yeah, go risk your fucking job and put your life on the line because this is what's going to make your life better in the immediate sense. I'm sorry, they don't have your best interests at heart. What they're actually telling you is, I don't give a fuck about you individually. I just see you as like a proxy for this hypothetical social subject I want to use for my political project. You know, the truth is that the people who are going to lead building a communist party, which is, by the way, something we don't have right now, those aren't the people who are going to be interested in self-interest. They're going to be doing it selflessly because they believe in the cause. They're not going to be fucking doing it to make their lives materially better. These are going to be the people who have the choice and have the option to live very wealthy lives, by and large, but choose to turn their back on that because they believe in the ideas. These are going to be the people who are doing it for the cause, not for self-interest. Self-interest is only going to factor at a political scale, okay? It's not going to factor in terms of motivations for organizing at this stage. There's no established communist party and there's no fucking workers movement. So don't give me this fucking shit. What should me and my friends do? Now, as for the predicament of 80% of people who are working in the service industry right now, the way that I think they can be addressed is first and foremost from the perspective not only of an established party, but a party movement whose main base and rank and file in terms of the mass movement is the productive working class. That will be the platform upon which 80% of the population can finally be addressed as a subject. Why? Because that platform will have a minimal program. It'll have a program that says, we want to reduce the hours of the workday. We want to abolish the service industry. We want to give everyone productive jobs. We want to make more jobs and make more wealth and make more production. And that will be a political demand. And that is going to be the baseline with which this 80% can be addressed as a subject. You're not going to address this 80% as a subject, either insofar as they're individuals, like this crazy fuck that I'm talking to right now, or as a hypothetical union of people getting together with the help of the established unions. I mean, you want me to give you my fucking advice? I think you should see a fucking doctor and get your fucking head checked. I think you have a genuine mental illness. That's what I fucking think. I think you need to fucking put some ice cubes on your throat or some shit. put those fucking cigarettes down, because it's already done enough of a number on you, by the looks of it. And most of all, I think you need to fucking grow the fuck up and stop screaming and yelling in moral and emotional indignation. Because it sounds like to me you're trying to displace your personal grievances into a political ideology, which is what people who are mentally ill do. There's no fucking ideology that's going to save you. There's no political movement that's going to save you personally. Get your fucking life in order and stop throwing that on others. No one's going to fucking help you, dude. This is a dog-eat-dog world. That's my fucking truth to you. Now, if there was a communist movement or a mass movement, maybe it'd be different. But there isn't right now. So you have to fucking face the facts of the world we live in. Period. Give me a sec. Okay. Now I'll unmute you.
Well, if you want society to be better, if you actually are going to make that argument, then you need to actually get in and actually build something instead of trying to take over the CPUSA.
Thank you, Doug.
It's an absolute waste of time and energy. All you are doing is effectively trying to take over something that was used as a mechanism for the United States government to take down the Soviet Union. And that's part of the reason they have a close relationship with China right now. But you refuse to acknowledge that reality. You want to push this absolute bullshit with trying to take over the CPUSA. You can't make it happen. It's Joe Sims' retirement plan. You can't take over the CPUSA. Actually build an organization instead of jacking off on the internet like some sort of dweeb.
This cannot be a real person.
My mic was muted. Why can't we take over the CPUSA? Tell us.
You can't take over the CPUSA because it is already an asset of the U.S. State Department.
Okay, hypothetically speaking, let's say that's true, and I have my suspicions about who's pulling the strings of the leadership. That has not been formally established or formally proven yet. And
there's no way to formally establish whether a party or an organization is part of a government unless they literally release the information themselves.
I think if you can get the majority of people in the CPUSA to adopt a line opposite to the leadership, and the leadership still goes against the majority, including all of their delegates circumventing the formal protocols and formal process that the organization uses to legitimate itself, that would be a legitimate grounds for a split. But having a different ideology...
But a split has already happened. If you just want to do that, join the PCUSA.
Listen, PCUSA was one fucking club of dissidents. So obviously it's going to be easy for them to liquidate one club of dissidents. PCUSA was never able to get the majority.
And you will never get the majority either because you push away people that already are a member of the PCUSA and already are members of the CPUSA that are actually members of the CPI. So how can we quite honestly take your thought process into any consideration realistically?
I don't need you.
We need people like you.
Mecha Tanky, I don't need people like you. Why do you think I'm growing? My plan is to grow. And as I grow, I want to put more people...
You don't not need people like me, but the reality is that there are a bunch of people that have similar thought processes as they do. And they are not as extreme sounding and off-putting as I am.
Hey, Mecha Tanky, the fact is, I've done a much better job at growing the amount of people who listen to what I say.
All the people that come and listen to you are a bunch of incel idiots.
Okay, I'm gonna just mute you. I'm just gonna mute you. You're missing the point. Even if you were right about all of those characterizations, they are joining the party en masse, and we're responsible for a huge spike in people joining the party. All I have to do is scale up that model, correlating with my growth as a quote unquote influencer, and hypothetically, there's no real reason why democratically speaking, the CPUSA's own structures should be able to prevent this from happening unless they circumvent the very foundational democratic centralism of the party, which, would be grounds for a split. I just don't buy this idea that disagreeing with the leadership ideologically is enough to form your own party. If you keep forming parties based on your disagreements ideologically, you're just going to reproduce a culture of sectarianism. And how do you even respond to that? How are you not just reproducing a culture of sectarianism if you think you can found a party based on your interpretations and your ideas and your ideology? Don't you recognize that a party represents a more fundamental collectivity and a more fundamental social unity than one individual's ideas or even a group of individuals' ideas amalgamated? It's a purport of association based on an independent working class party. Now, even if you don't think that they're living up to that purport, formally and historically speaking, that is still the purport of the party, its existence up to this point. So unless you can somehow prove, which I think will be proven, to be honest with you, that the party has circumvented its own formal methods of legitimating itself and goes against the majority, by that time, the social infrastructure for a split will be in case. If the majority of the CPUSA, they have the elections and everything, and the leadership still refuses to abandon the Democrats, there will be a split that actually will probably destroy the CPUSA. And that much is just this. So it's like, even in the case of a split then, where it'd be legitimized, it wouldn't have destroyed the goal. The goal would march forward in a new form. And actually, we would keep the name CPUSA no matter what. Go ahead.
So quite frankly, from what I gather, is that you have no real understanding of the bureaucracy that goes on in CPUSA. You have no idea that the bureaucracy is set up in such a way that you cannot really hold any real elections. Everything is democratically centric. You will never, ever figure out how exactly it fucking works. You're not intelligent enough to understand how the party operates. And the party operates as a hand of the CIA. And that is the reality that you will not come to terms with.
Alright, so I do know how it works. I do know that they choose delegates themselves, and it's not the direct election. However, if the atmosphere within the CPUSA became so drastic that the majority of clubs, the majority of people, most importantly, possess a specific sentiment while committing to democratic centralism, and there is such an affront to that by the leadership doesn't even compromise on that point in any capacity, and that would be grounds. And plus, I mean, there are ways to climb the ranks in the CPUSA just by gaining the trust of the leadership, and that's something we've been doing, believe it or not. There's many layers to Takia. Takia doesn't just mean you conceal that you're an infrared supporter. Takia also means you conceal your views on the Democrats as well. Once you get into these positions of power based on trust, when the time comes, based on democratic centralism, that bureaucracy will have no way of suppressing the way of the wind. Just won't.
You have low information, lake intelligence supporters. Realistically, you can't expect your followers to have the capability to actually be that deceitful successfully. They will ultimately and will fail.
Can you tell me why you're talking like that?
We already have insiders in the CPUSAs. Not the top leadership, but below that and below these ranks. People who
they will reveal themselves in due time because they're not intelligent enough to conceal themselves.
Well, it's been like a year and they haven't, so...
And can you actually imagine if they were actually feeding you the truth? They probably just want to make sure that you're in their pocketbook.
No, I have
This is not a
confirmation.
real person.
I have proof and confirmation of these things. So, you know, what you're saying is just not true. The plan is not working really well.
Come on and say it, Alex Jr. You don't have the papers. You have no receipts.
I'm not gonna show you my fucking receipts and reveal the our guys, okay? And our girls, quote unquote.
And therefore proves the point that you are an absolute fool.
You're not making an argument, you're just making assertions.
My assertions are correct because ultimately we have seen the reality. We have seen what has at the infrared. It is absolute bollocks, incapable of actually achieving anything at all. Only be able to get a bunch of money so you can live in your nice little apartment.
Okay, so I'm gonna mute you. All of your in real life initiatives, and I've done this, by the way, so I've seen this firsthand. It'll only ever amount to trying to spread information. You do it with leaflets, and it never does anything, maybe gets you a few more members. I have accomplished something. I've grown a pretty big audience and a pretty big following. Now, that hasn't led to any material changes, obviously, but that is a very important first step, which most leftists fail at. And, I mean, it's just objectively true. Most of your parties and most of your sects fail at step one, which is just like, is anyone listening to you? Does anyone care what you say? So, I'm going to have to let Mecha God on. So, you're going to have to wrap it up, Mecha Tank, or give us a new argument.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, we know that you will fail. You will never succeed at anything. You are simply a husk, or the CIA. You are synthetic left. No different from those that you say you are different from. You are a synthetic leftist part of the red,
You're calling me names. I'm asking you to make arguments, okay? You're just calling me names and you're yelling. Can you give me an argument?
Wait, let me talk to this guy.
The argument is you are an absolute idiot and you will never succeed at anything.
So again, that is not an argument, it's an assertion.
And you will fail, and it is so obvious. You will fail.
Okay, again, it's not an argument, it's just an assertion. You haven't tried to justify that in any way. We're waiting for an argument.
The argument is that clearly based on how you have tried to cultivate an audience of dingbats, an audience of idiots, an audience incapable of any...
Is there any proof that that's just not your opinion? And how do you measure that? Is it just because, like, you disagree with them theoretically and you don't like our style and you just don't like how we present ourselves? I feel like that's a very subjective evaluation of my audience. So I would like you to prove, before you come to a conclusion based on that unjustified premise, please prove the premise.
We know because every single leftist tendency that exists within the United States, that exists inside of the global South, that exists within the Far East, have nothing to do with your idiocracy. You are...
Okay, I can easily refute that. That's not true. To the extent that we have made connections with foreign communists, we've been very successful. And as a matter of fact, there's factions within foreign communist movements that agree with infrared more, believe it or not. So what you're saying is just not true. And even if it was true, I think there's this thing what Western MLs do, where instead of building their own communist traditions, they just look to foreign communists as like sources of legitimation and authority, which is pretty fucking pathetic. And it just proves that you don't have your own backbone. You don't have you don't even have the willingness to try and build your own domestic, national communist tradition. You just want to fucking like dick measure. Like, oh well, Luna Oi likes me better than you. No, Luna Oi. I don't give a fuck about Luna Oi. I don't care. Okay, and if you're saying foreign communist movements want nothing to do with me, I mean, even if that's true, why would they? I'm a media guy. I am not a Communist Party leader. There's no reason we would have formal relations. I broadcast my stream in English, and if foreign communists are primarily consumers of English media, I'm not so sure that I'd want anything to do with them in the first place, to be honest, with some exceptions. That those exceptions maybe being India or English-speaking countries, but beyond that, it's like I feel like English is, if a party is watching me in English, I mean, in a country that's not primarily speaking English, I don't know, it's kind of sus, to be completely honest, but I'm not a communist leader. I'm a YouTuber. I'm not sure why any foreign communist movements have to have anything to do with me or what I'm trying to do, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to actualize something that hasn't been actualized yet. Once I succeed, we'll talk about what they want to do with me or how that impacts the international fraternal relations between parties. But like your point is nonsensical. It doesn't prove anything.
And this is why ultimately we know that Kenneth Maupin will be the actual leader of the communist movement in the United States and not you.
Maupin.
Hey, I mean, like, I would love for Caleb to be the leader of a American communist movement. And if he was a leader of if he did succeed at that, I mean, like, I would obviously acknowledge that. It's just like no one's close to. There's not even a communist movement right now. So I'm just, what are you even saying? Like, why would that even be relevant? Me and Caleb are not part of the same party. We're not part of a common party. It's not like we're vying for leadership in some party. I'm literally just a YouTuber. So I would like you to explain what the relevancy of that statement is.
Caleb is clearly more revolutionary than you will ever be.
What the hell is wrong with you, bro?
So, okay, my other question is, are you the Yankee Tanky?
It can't be. His back is too arced to make such a voice, man. My
Are
goodness.
you the Yankee Tanky?
You're unmuted.
You ain't muted, you thumb fuck. But no, my name is Paul Rogers, and I am the one who knocks.
Wait, what is your name?
What the hell? What the hell is going on? He
My
cannot be a
name,
real
my
person.
Can you tell us your
Paul
name?
Rogers, and I am the one who knocks.
Your name is Paul Rogers?
Yes, the original Paul Rogers, I have you know.
Alright, new character just dropped. I've never heard of Paul Rogers. It's like...
How could you have never heard of Paul Rogers? Clearly, he's a famous person. You can tell by the smoker voice. Goodness.
Can you, is that like a celebrity? I don't fucking know. Paul Rogers?
I don't know, but look, I'm saying.
So yeah,
this guy can't
Paul
be a real
Rogers is
person.
a fucking British singer, songwriter, and is that who you're claiming to be?
No, I am the Paul Rogers, the guy who owns 936 Junkyard. I am the master of trash removal.
Do you have a YouTube channel?
No, I don't. I don't usually participate in social media, but I realized when I was at my last party meeting, there's this new guy named Infrared on the interwebs. So I had to go and check him out and see what he was all about. Turns out you're a bunch of bullshit.
I think you're the Yankee Tanky, dude. Can you talk normally to confirm?
This is something he totally do, but I don't know if he has the voice for this. That's the thing.
I don't even know exactly who this individual tanky guy is, but I am Paul Rogers. Let's be very clear about this. My name is Paul Rogers.
I looked up 1936 Junkyard. I can't find anything about a 1936.
So why is the Yankee Tanky the only person who retweets your content?
I don't even know who this tanky fellow is, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Who is this guy?
I think it's the Yankee Tanky. I think it's you. Why don't you just come out in your main account, and I'll bring you up as a speaker. Come on, get off your alt, come in your main account, and I'll bring you on as a speaker.
I still don't know what you're talking about. My name is Paul Rogers.
No, come on, Yankee. Let's go. Give us. All right, well,
clearly I am Paul Rogers.
All right,
I don't know who this person is, but you have to
Mr. Rogers, would you be okay with leaving, and then hypothetically the Yankee Tanky might come on, and I'll bring him up? Would you be okay with that?
I don't know what you're talking about, so
would you be okay? You've talked a lot. You've talked a lot. So do you want to give the Yankee Tanky some room to speak?
I don't know who you're talking about, but you can put him whenever you want in your show.
It's just a guy who's also critical of the show, and he probably wants to speak. So would you give him some room to speak?
Wait, can I?
He can speak if he wants to. I don't know what to tell him. Why are you trying to get me this guy?
Is that your real voice? Just answer this, please. I need to know. That's not your real voice.
This is my real life. This is my real voice. This is how I talk.
I heard your voice.
What the fuck about it, yo?
I'm sorry, my friend. I heard your voice revert back to a normal state for a split second because it cracked, and I could hear.
I think it's the Yankee Tanky.
It probably.
That's absolute bullshit. I don't know who you're talking about, but my name has been very clear from the beginning.
Is God real?
What are your views on Islam
and Judaism?
Islam is okay, I guess, just like Hinduism is okay. I don't know. I don't really talk about God. I don't really care.
So what do you think about me wearing wife beaters? Is that like hypocritical?
Wear a wife beater. Who cares?
Is that hypocritical for me to wear those?
What are you even talking about? It's just a wife beater.
Like Islam? Okay. Oh, damn, you're really not the Yankee Tanky, are you?
No, Yankee Tanky knows that everybody has heard.
What do you think about Samira's retweet of that one tweet? What do you think about that?
Who?
Oh, you don't know Samira?
Yes, he does. No, yes, he's okay. You know, it's him. Look at his description. Okay, he's faking it. Look at his description. This is somebody faking it. It's definitely Yankee. I think it's either Yankee Tanky or somebody else. Don't say who. You messed up. You messed up because it's in your description, bro. Her name is in your description.
So,
oh my God, Yankee Tanky. Look, I understand.
What are we even talking about, man?
Who's Samira? Who? Look at your description. She's in your description.
I don't know who this Samira person is. Like,
wait, why don't you know who
Samira is? Okay, I'll ask you again. What do you think about Samira's retweet?
I don't know who Samira is, and I don't know what retweet you're talking about.
Check your profile
because it's in your profile description. It's called Making Fun of Haas, Samira Khan, and Keen Mansfield. So you do know who Samira is.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yankee.
All right, can we just look? Can we just get the real Yankee? I'm sure this shit is hard on your voice. Okay. Can we just get the real Yankee Tanky?
You have to come to terms with who I am. You can't pretend I'm someone else just because you didn't like me, okay?
But this is not your real voice. This is nobody's real voice.
You're saying
this is my real voice.
All right, give me a second. Give me one moment.
Oh my God, it's too good. It's too good. You can't be serious. I'm sorry. I don't know who this is.
All right, so Yankee.
I'm 100% serious, okay?
All right, Yankee. Can you just talk as Yankee because this is really
I don't know who this Yankee dude is, but I've got nothing to do with that, all right?
Okay, first of all, this is why I know you're Yankee, okay? First of all, if you're going to make a Mecha Tankies posting moments and you have Samira Khan in your description, you know who Samira is. If you're following us that closely...
That does not mean I know who you're talking about. Just because I know who you're talking about.
His real voice. Did you hear his real voice there for a quick second? Did you hear it? I heard his real voice there for a split second.
I'm pretty certain you are the Yankee Tank.
Clearly, am who I am. Whether
Which
you
is
like
the
it or not.
Which is the Yankee Tanky, and that much is pretty much indisputable.
I'm not this Yankee fellow, okay? I am a senator. I'll have you know. I'm not some dirty Yank up north.
What's your problem with Keaton?
What's the problem? What?
Keaton Mansfield. What's your problem with him?
He is some sort of fake Southerner. I would say that's pretty obvious and clear.
What do you think about peace, prosperity, and the people's democracy?
What the fuck is this some sort of slogan or some shit?
Why do you know who Keaton Mansfield has and Samira Khan?
I know who Keaton is because he used to be among all the PCUSA.
And then you say, who is that? Oh, yeah. Why do you sound like that? Can you answer, my friend? Why do you hold on? How do you know?
A very long time ago, probably about a year ago or so.
No, it's not from a year ago. What are you talking about? You made this account like a week ago, less than.
I made this account like a few days ago because I discovered through being at my party meeting who these fucking infrared people were.
So you're in the you're in the CPI?
I'm in the PCUSA.
Oh, okay. So you do know who these people are. Why are you okay? Why do you keep
lying
switching?
about not knowing who Samira is? Can you at least admit you knew who Samira is?
I don't know who you're talking about, but I do know who you're talking about.
What?
So you do.
I'll repeat and I'll say, I don't know who you're talking about, but I know who you're talking about.
But you have them in your fucking description. You have them in your description of your profile. So
I know who you're talking about, but I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh my God.
Do you know who Yankee Tanky is?
Who's that?
Can you admit you know who Yankee Tanky is?
I don't know who that is.
Do you know who Samira Khan is?
You're in PCUSA, you know who that is.
I don't know who that is, but I do not know who that is.
Do you know who Samira Khan is?
I know who that is, but I don't know who that is.
Okay, something's wrong with you. I don't know what's wrong with this weird voice.
Dude, okay, why is Samira Khan in your fucking description? And why would
I don't know who you're talking about, but I do know who you're talking about.
I know you are the Yankee Tanky. I know you are. Okay, I know you are. Dude, I know who you are. No. I know it's you, dude. I've been told.
He's talking like a demon, bro. He's talking like a demon.
Your friends exposed you. Your friends told me it's you, dude. All right.
What friends? I have no friends. I'm just down here in New Orleans trying to figure things out.
Are your friends embarrassed by the fact that this is what you sound like?
You do not know who I am because I've never been on the interwebs before.
What are you talking about?
I know who you are, dude. Yes, you have.
You have no idea, but you have every idea. Only I know the true idea.
You're demonic. Okay, you need a damn exorcism right now. Do you want me to call somebody? I can get an exorcist right now.
Oh, Jesus!
Yeah, that was a demon. That was a demon.
Who is Brady Shields? Are you Brady Shields?
From heaven to the highest, we stand to walk, Jesus.
Are you Brady Shields?
Are there any Yankee Tanky associates who'd like to come up here and confirm that this is him?
This is fucking him. This is 100% him.
Oh my goodness. What is wrong? What's wrong with this person? Like I said, talking like a demon. He talks and sounds like a demon. I don't think it's...
I talk in the way of the truth, the way and the life.
Can you talk normally?
Yeah, please.
I am speaking normally. Just because you do not recognize how I speak doesn't mean I ain't speaking the truth.
No, you speak like a damn possessed, like epileptic patient. Okay, I know.
I speak as I am possessed by the Lord.
goodness, what? Please, just someone.
I am a holy man, I
So
mind you.
where's the Yankee Tanky? Can someone bring him? Someone DM the Yankee Tanky, tell him to come.
Okay, if Yankee Tanky joins at the same time as this person, then this means that this isn't Yankee Tanky, but this is a demonic emanation coming from all the sin that he has committed in the world. And that's why we can't figure out who it is, because it's not a who. It's literally just like some sort of jinn that's come here to deceive people and spread evil in the world. Shaitaniya. Where somebody... Praise the Lord! Obvious demon.
So he was active an hour ago, so I'm pretty sure he's still around. So go ahead and someone DM the Yankee Tanky to come on.
And nobody can DM him. He only has like a give money thing on his profile.
No, I can DM him.
If for everybody here, for future reference, if you want to know whether or not the person you're speaking to is a demon, if they start speaking in gibberish and acting like this, just know that you're not talking to a human being. You are talking to a jinn. Do you collect Pokemon cards? You sound like the kind of person to collect Pokemon cards. Oh, wait, is he here? Yeah, he's here. Bring him up.
He's here?
Yeah, bring him up right now.
Wait.
Come up right now. Come up right now and speak. I want you and this mecha person to speak at the same time.
All right, yeah. Invite.
Come on, I can't. You have to invite it because you're the...
All right, we're going to invite him to speak.
Speak now.
I requested him.
If he comes up and this by the way, this mecha person went silent. Are you there?
He left.
Can you speak?
The mecha guy left.
Oh my goodness. See, yeah, it's him. It's him. Hey, get back here. What are you doing? We know it's you.
It's fucking proven. He fucking left. It's fucking proven, dude. Why?
Is this recorded?
Why would you lie about that? Invite to speak. All right, come on up and...
I want before you ask him a question, I want to ask him why his neck is so arched. I want to ask him how he got that perfect, like, Roman aqueduct neck. He left.
He said, I'd like to talk to you privately outside of space.
Yeah, it's you. It's him, bro. He left, by the way. But it's him. It's him, 100% him. Yankee Tanky just came here talking like this. And, started saying a bunch of gibberish. I don't know what's wrong with these damn people.
All right,
but...
so that was the Yankee Tanky. All right, that was the Yankee Tanky. There's no doubt about that. He left the space. Oh, look! Right as Yankee leaves the space, Mecha Tanky comes back.
Oh, no, what you're talking about? I just got disconnected.
Stop! It was my life.
He literally left. Yankee joined the space. Yankee left, and then Mecha Tanky came back. Dude, can you both be here at the same time?
I don't know what to tell you because I don't even know this guy you're talking about.
Why did your voice change? My
voice changes because I have been smoking cigarettes for the last 50 years, if you need to know, okay?
I'm sorry. Stop with the weird demonic.
So wait, what is your what is this name? It's Roger what?
Paul Rogers.
Paul Rogers.
My name is, as he said, Paul Rogers.
All right,
Yankee Tanky, I can literally see the grease rolling off of your lips every single time you pronounce it.
All right, so...
My name is Paul Rogers. I don't know who you're talking about, but I'll have you know I am very overweight. I'm actually 478 pounds.
Yankee Tanky admits that he is 470 pounds.
All right, so Paul Rogers, can you explain to us why you just did this to have some fun on a Saturday?
Because quite honestly, the strip barbecue broke down and I haven't been able to set the grill up. So I thought maybe I'd go and check out what's going on online to see what's up, and then I saw you had a space, and I knew I had to call you out.
Did you collect Pokemon cards today, Yankee Tanky? Did you collect your shiny Pokemon cards, whatever they're called?
What the hell is Pokemon?
Okay, so I don't know why you're pretending as if you're not the kind of person to do something like that, but Yankee Tanky, we know what you do.
I
We know
play
that you have a
Magic
Reddit
the
account.
Gathering.
We know that you don't have a grill. You don't have a grill.
It's in a
Yankee
noob
Tanky.
game, I'm
You
assuming.
have a stove to cook yourself extremely greasy, like baby burgers every day to fuel your extreme obesity.
Actually,
we know that
I
you have an
only
account on the
eat
now
a
closed
totally
website,
vegan
Hentai
diet.
We
so
know
that's
that you
not
have
really true.
accounts
That
on every
explains why I'm
single
so
porn website,
overweight.
legal
All
and
the
illegal, known
estrogen
to
created
man.
by the soy
We know
made
that
me
you
have some
watch
big ass
disgusting
fat ass
demonic
titties.
nonsense known as anime. I am
Alright.
calling you to repentance now.
No, mate, Mecha
now,
Tanky, what are
in
your
the name
views
of
on
God.
religion?
Oh, praise the Lord.
No, stop being a demon and stop being fat.
That
Go
kind of
literally
sounds
start
like
running.
a demonic mockery.
You cannot stop me from doing what is in my blood.
What? So what do you think about religion?
Well, as you can say, I don't really care if someone's religious, but I myself am a holy man.
Okay, what religion do you belong to?
The religion of the flying spaghetti.
There's another alt in here. Mecha Tankies posting their L's. There's another
Wait, the
complete alt.
religion of the what?
The fly.
The pastitarian.
Pasta, whatever it's called. He's
Wait.
the one who they're like some like.
Wait,
thing
did
by
you say
atheists.
pastatarian?
He said pastafarian.
Pastitarian. I wear a calendar on my head.
It's a
The shrimp
stupid
barbecue
atheist
was
joke.
Hi,
from, like,
Mecha
15 years ago.
Tanky.
Actually
How's
gained
it
respect
going?
for Yankee Tanky
You probably
tonight.
don't know who I am, but I'm Samira.
I do not know who you are. Who exactly are you?
What?
I'm the name that you have in your description.
What exactly name do I have in my description? What even is the description, quite honestly?
I think, Haas, you need to do a live exorcism right now.
Wait,
because...
Mecca, do you think your activity might be symptoms of monkeypox?
Actually, I wouldn't even be surprised. I've had this big giant gash on my forehead for the last 13 days.
Demon.
Are you aware of how monkeypox spreads? Just to be clear.
The coitus.
You're aware of how it spreads?
Yes, through the coitus.
Through the what?
What?
The coitus.
The what? The tortoise?
The coitus, you know, coitus.
Oh, coitus. You need to speak normally. Goodness, you don't have to do that.
So is that you think it's possible that you might have acquired it?
Hey, no, I've never been laid. What the fuck do you think this is?
All right,
so you don't have monkeypox. All right, got it. So,
you tweeted the other day that you were considering converting to Islam. Is that still the case?
No, I'm a good Pastafarian. I would not believe in Islam. If you really believe in Islam, that's just fine, but I have no interest in that religion.
Where did your hatred of God come from?
I don't hate God. I am a God.
Yeah, like
no, you're fat.
You're a demon.
Hold on. What happened in your life?
I am your Lord and Savior.
Guys, I don't want to mute everyone. I want to just ask him. All right, Mega Tanky. What happened in your life that you broke with your parents' religion? Like, what happened?
Well, there was this one day where my father told me, "You son, you must follow the true path. You must be the leader of the weak, the broken, and the damned."
Okay, can you stop quoting like really bad songs listened to by ugly gremlin demonic Anglo demons like yourself?
Mecca, can I read something for you? And tell me what you think? I wrote something for you, Mecca. I wrote something down for you, Mecca Tanky. Can I read it to you? Is that okay?
Is it a poem?
Yes, it is. I'm a poet.
Oh, majestic.
Okay. Exorzamus te omnes immunde spiritus omni satanica protestus Omnis Crucio, Internalis, Crucioi, Omnis Legio, Omnis Tangrecchio.
Exercise that demon.
You cannot.
Nomini,
You have
Victory,
no power here.
Domini, Nostri, Jesus Christi.
Exercise that
I don't care.
You will never be able to take away my spirit because I am too powerful. I am a golden monster.
I think now we need to do the exercise.
We cast you out, every unclean spirit.
Yankee. What?
No, let him finish the exorcism.
What made you have
my shitty Latin?
Yankee, what?
Yeah, but I'm a priest. It's okay.
All right.
I declare myself a priest. I'm not sanctioned by the Vatican.
All right, thank you for your service.
Fuck the Vatican. They don't have to.
Yankee,
they lied to me.
Yankee, what happened in your life that led you to mock religion like this? Like, why do you despise religion?
Well, there was this unicorn, and it shoved its big giant horn directly at my urethra, and it hadn't been the same since.
Demon, stop being a demon.
Okay, so
I can't.
Yankee Tanky.
I've never seen the side of Yankee Tanky, but
Again, I don't know who you're talking about. Okay, I'm not this Yankee. As I said, I am a southerner. All right, getting
it just sounds to me like
you're gonna be very
it sounds to me like you've had problems with religion in your life that have led you to this moment. I'm just trying to.
I don't have no problems with religion. It's just that religion exists, and I have my own religion. I don't need y'all's religion. You can have your religion over here, and I have my religion over there.
Yeah, but it sounds like your religion is kind of like nihilistic and stuff, right?
Actually, it's actually pretty cool. We get to have cookies every Tuesday.
Yeah, but it kind of sounds like you're trying to make a parody of religions, to be honest.
What parody? There's no such parody. Do I look like some sort of Weird Al Yankovic?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Oh my goodness.
So you're a pastafarian.
Well, yes, I am. I wear a calendar on my head.
Yeah, it's like a mockery of religion. So what led you to this point?
No, it's not a mockery of religion. It's me embracing my own religion.
Yeah, of course. So I have to ask you a question. Is there any reason you have such a resentment of religion? Because I think that's why you don't like.
I don't have any resentment for religion.
I think that's why you don't like.
Religion's actually pretty cool. It's the ones who brought me cookies and milk every Christmas, so I can't really complain.
I see. It's make believe, like Santa Claus, right? But I think that's
no. It's totally real.
Yeah. So clearly, you're very adamant about the atheism stuff, right?
Absolutely not. Atheists are religious too.
So I just want to ask you, where did religion fail you in life? I'm sure it did.
Religion hasn't failed me. That's why I'm a pastafarian.
Seems like you're kind of resisting, the question.
No, I'm not resisting the question. I'm just a pastafarian,
Which god do you worship?
The pasta guy.
All right, so Yankee,
Again, you keep bringing up this Yankee fella. I don't know who this Yankee fella is.
He retweeted you all day today.
I'm looking through my Twitter feed right now. Oh, that guy. His hat's kind of weird. I don't like his beard. It's not really growing in around the cheeks. A little weird.
So you do know Yankee Tanky. I'm glad you finally admitted
it. I'm looking through his profile right now because you're so insistent on this idea I'm a Yankee Tanky. What the fuck even is a fucking Yankee Tanky?
I mean, you seemed quite friendly with him on Twitter.
Are we going to be able to talk to Yankee Tanky at all tonight?
You're talking to the most amazing person in the world. Why would you need to talk to anyone else but me?
All right, so you were saying, but you said earlier you're like a communist and stuff, right?
He said he's a barista.
I am a communist. Have you know? I stand in the tradition of Bill Hayes.
Of who?
The great glorious Bill Hayes will, of course.
You're a, what?
How do
This
you
is actually
reconcile
making me a little sad.
pastafarianism
The
with communism?
greatest Bill Hayes. The communist. You telling me you don't know the history of Bill Hayes?
Bill Hayes?
Is pastafarianism compatible?
Hayes, the labor
with
organizer, the revolutionary.
Bill
Member of every
Hayes?
single alphabetical
I've
party.
never heard of Bill Hayes, alright? I've never heard of Bill Hayes.
You were talking about CPI earlier. What's your relationship with Caleb Maupin? Do you have one, or do you?
I do
just
not have a
admire him?
relationship with that gentleman. I think he wears a real snazzy suit, and that's the most I can really say on him.
What
And
do you think about Jackson Hinkle? What is your views on him?
He's alright, you know, he's got a little bit of the Pat Stark thing going on, which, you know, we, PCUSA are definitely appreciative of. But I will say, Jackson Hinkle, he's really long, just like you are when it comes to labor. Well, I'll give you credit, you guys were good in Russia! You were good with China, you get credit there, a little few brownie points for you, you know?
I thought you
This-
didn't know us, but okay.
Can I just say, this is making me a little sad because I know that Yankee Tanky as a child would do this in front of his parents when they would tell him not to do something, and he didn't, and he wanted to keep doing it as like a sort of like weird coping mechanism, and he hasn't grown out of it ever since. It's making me very sad to see that there's people who are like this. May God heal everybody like this on the earth and make them
I
and their necks stand up
genuinely
right
do
and tell
not
hard.
get why you think I miss this
Fix
guy.
your back, fix
He's
your back
like
and your neck,
half
bro.
my
Fix your back
weight.
and your neck, bro. Sit up,
Like,
sit up
he's
straight, have
like,
some better posture.
he's actually like somewhat fit compared to me. I'm
fix your
478 goddamn pounds. You
I
think
want
I look
everybody-
that
Can I ask
filthy?
you a
Like, what the
question?
fuck, man?
Why did you leave as soon as Yankee Tanky joined the space?
I don't know what you're talking about because I didn't even see anyone join or leave the space. I got disconnected on my phone, man.
Why?
As soon as Yankee Tanky came in, okay, sure.
It's not my fault I got fucking T-Mobile service.
It was your
shit,
pasta god.
okay?
It's fine, I get it. Why do you think PCUSA is a more viable option than CPUSA?
Well, there's no parties that are actually valuable. Let's just be real. But the reason why PCUSA is because they're actually willing to stand in solidarity with the CPI, which is really the only real legitimate organization.
Dude, we know you're Yankee Tanky. Just stop. We know you're him. Just talk.
What's
normal.
your status with the
Again, I
PCUSA?
do not know what you're talking about. I don't know who this Yankee fellow.
We
Obviously, I
know who
see
you
him
are,
on my
dude. You
fucking
sound
tweet
just
feed.
like
Who cares?
Dude.
It's not me.
Yes,
What is
it
your-
is you. You sound just like him.
I do not sound like the Yankee
Exact
Tanky.
same
I don't even know what the
thinking
Yankee Tanky sounds like. What does he even sound like?
Just admit it.
Admit what? There's nothing to
It's
admit.
old. We want to talk to Yankee Tanky. This shit is old. Bring
Well,
Yankee
then
Tanky.
contact the Yankee Tanky, but I'm not the Yankee Tanky,
Yes,
okay?
you fucking are.
Hold on, Mecca.
No, I'm not. I am a real, legitimate guy down south in New Orleans.
Can I just
Fucking
ask
guy.
a few more questions? What is your standing with the PCUSA? Are you in the PCUSA? Or are you just a
I
fan?
am a member of PCUSA, that is correct.
Since when?
Since I joined about 4 years ago.
Okay. Were you ever in CPI?
No, but from my friends, they've been saying that the CPI has been doing some good things, so...
Who are these friends? I'm curious.
What do you think about Schopenhauer?
Who?
Can you tell me why you're keeping this shit up? Can we just talk to the Yankee Tanky?
I don't know who you're talking about. Yes, obviously, I know you think I'm this guy
I know. Okay, I know
that's
Paul,
been like retweeting my
Paul
stuff or whatever.
Rogers,
But I'm telling you, I'm not
listen,
that dude.
I know Paul Rogers if he admits he's the Yankee tanky, Paul Rogers ceases to be, right? But can Paul Rogers please step out of the room and let Yankee tanky in the room? Please?
You don't even have to admit you're him.
Paul Rogers exists within eternity and will not be leaving this room. That's very clear. But with that being said, I am not the Yankee tanky. I'm Paul Rogers. Just come to terms, okay?
So you're saying what you're saying is we're not talking to the Yankee tanky tonight.
You are talking to Paul Rogers.
All right, we're not going to be able to talk to the Yankee tanky tonight, right? Only Paul Rogers.
I mean, you might be able to talk to the Yankee tanky, but I'm not the Yankee tanky, so I'm not here to answer that question.
Dude, I don't know what's wrong with you.
Listen, is Paul Rogers not gonna give space to someone else?
Paul Rogers can give space to anyone who wants to occupy the space, but I am here at this moment.
There's someone here that wants it. So unless Yankee comes, Paul is done. Bye, Paul.
I do have a proposal for him.
Farewell, Haas, and remember, you will be taken.
Bro, shut up.
Yeah, totally not Yankee tanky.
All right, what does Pete want?
Please let this be a normal person. Please let this be a normal person.
Unmute yourself.
He went back.
All right. Okay, what's your argument?
I don't have one. I am your con. You're not ready for the vibe shift that's coming, man. You're not ready for the vibe shift that's coming.
All right,
it's gonna wipe you out.
Pete. I know you came underprepared, and I don't want to roast you, to be honest. But Pete,
roast me. You can't.
Pete, you are looking.
I am your con.
Pete, you are looking. You are looking like you're the definition.
Energy.
Pete, you
low
are
energy.
Pete, you are looking like the
low
definition.
Energy soy boy.
Male pattern.
You can't even pronounce con correctly.
You are looking like
I am your con.
You are looking like the definition of peaked in high school, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
I am your con, Haas.
Look in the back room when they're making pizzas. Look in the back when they're making pizzas. I can tell, dude. I can tell.
Have a pizza.
I can tell you're reminiscing on the glory days of high school when you were someone.
That's not how you pronounce it. Learn how to pronounce it first, and then come back.
I am your con, Haas. Submit to my will.
I think you're my bitch, personally.
Maybe you'll be spared.
I think you're my bitch.
Everybody shut up. I don't care about this guy. Yankee Tanky is here.
If you submit
Yankee
to my...
Tanky's here?
Hey, little boy, be quiet. You
bring submit to my will, perhaps...
This pussy surrendered his manhood to me. He left, so Pete, goodbye, Pete.
My ass, Haas.
You're a bitch. All right, Yankee's here. All right, finally Yankee's here. All right, we're bringing Yankee on. Invite him to speak.
Speak right now. Please explain to us why you weren't in the room.
He's not here yet.
No, I know, but before you joins, I just want to listen.
No, we're going to talk about something else. We're gonna water under the bridge, right? We're not gonna talk about that other stuff. We're just gonna let Yankee on. Inviting him to speak. Just waiting for him to accept.
It was funny though.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yankee, come on.
Yeah, we're very eager to talk to you.
Yankee, I'll give you a deal. If you come up here and speak, right, you can rant to me for 2 hours about how you think God is not real.
No, Yankee's not like that, right? Okay, what does Moose want? Yankee said he's in a public space. He cannot speak. Of course. No, it makes total sense. No, he's totally legit. Can we have Mecha Tankies come back on while Yankee's just listening in? Because I want you to listen to some guy. He's really funny, Yankee. This guy named Mecha Tankies. So stay in the space and we'll wait for Mecha Tankies to come back. And yeah, he said he's downtown in some place. This guy can't speak, so I'm removing him. So Yankee, I want you to be introduced to the Mecha Tanky Moments guy. So please stay in the call. Alright, you know what? I'm sick of this fucking bullshit. Yankee, we know it's fucking you, just come on. We know you're fucking Mecha Tankies, just come on.
The voice was just so...
Alright, you know what? It's getting late. I've had enough of this. We'll resume this another time. But it's getting too late. And I'm gonna have to end this. But yeah.
Alright, good night.
Yeah. Alright, bye everyone. Okay. So I was gonna like pretend, oh yeah, Yankee, I was gonna go along with it. And when he comes on, I was gonna like grill him. I'm like, bro, why the fuck did you do that fucking shit? I didn't know for certain at first, but like when the fact they couldn't be in the same space at the same time was ultimate proof. Okay, it was just ultimate proof. Period. It was ultimate proof. All right, but you know what? It was a good time. Good time, right? We had a good time. We had a fun time. Fun stream. Goodbye to the people who trusted me. Goodbye to the, do you think about me? 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 Goodbye to the people who love me. Goodbye to the people who trust me. Goodbye to the people who trusted me. Goodbye to everybody. Now I need the changes in my life. Now I need to look on it life. Do you think about me?